But I have had a tweet sent over from Car, which is appreciated. Let's go over to that, shall we? So Car says, the mystery newest signing from the main talent will also probably show up. Yeah, they've been talking about this for a little while, right? That a former world champion is apparently going to be coming in, a former WWE like heavyweight champion. Don't know if it's a former WWE champion or a former world heavyweight champion. Not sure, but they have been teasing the arrival of a decent name that should be coming into AAA that should create a little bit of buzz. We know that we've got a big show coming up later this month in AAA, so we know we've got that. And of course, an even bigger show in September. We're going to be doing Triple Mania. So Triple Mania coming up in September. That's obviously a big 2-night event. And then as well as that, we've got, I can't remember the name of the show. It's all in like Spanish. So there is something coming up in July that's going to be a bit of a PLE type thing. So we do have some big things on the horizon. I wouldn't say the biggest of shows, though, if we look at the preview. It is going to be fun, though, to see Flammer in action. I mean, I am a fan of her. Her match with Bayley, I think, is still up there with being one of the best matches, women's matches of the year. Here you can see this person thinking it might be Sheamus that could be coming in. It could be Sheamus. I don't think it will be. I'm not sure they would bring him back in AAA rather than bring him back to Raw or SmackDown. But he is a former WWE champion, of course. So, I mean, he would be ticking that box. But yeah, we're going to be watching Flammer tonight. Very much looking forward to seeing her in action. Her match with Bayley, as we said, very, very good. Very entertaining. And then we've got Lady Shani. I don't know anything about Lady Shani. I've only seen her a couple of times. But Lady Shani is going to be the opponent. So hopefully that's going to be a really fun match. Then we've got I don't know how you pronounce these. Fiscal, is it? Taking on Abismo Negro Jr. So, okay, I think we've seen these guys. I've certainly seen Abismo a couple of weeks back. But these are not really performers we see on a regular basis. You know, this is not like Psycho Circus or Vikingo or Mini Vikingo or any of those people we see on a regular. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting to check them out, see what they bring. The great thing about AAA is you can go into this show with confidence that it's going to deliver. You can go into this show knowing that it's going to be worth watching because I've yet to see a bad episode. And then we've got this, like, looks a little bit like the thumbnail. There's so many people involved. But yes, we've got Lady Shanna's return, Abismo Negro Jr., Parka, Mr. Iguana in action. So I'm guessing it's these three taking on these three Money Machine. So it looks like we've got Drago, Mr. Iguana, Parka taking on Money. I think they could have made that graphic a bit clearer, to be honest. So 6-man tag action. Looks like it's these three versus them three. So there we go. I think the big thing tonight is going to be the announcements of, you know, who this champion is. Hopefully we do get that. And then, as we said, Flammer in action, always fun. That might be our main event. But Mr. Iguana in action, Parka in action, I mean, should be fun. You know what you're going to get with AAA. And hopefully it'll be well worth tuning in for. Yes, happy 4th of July to everyone as well. I did put a little tweet out earlier. Obviously, we said it yesterday as well. Technically now here in the UK, it's clicked over into the 5th. But yes, happy 4th of July, of course. Hope everyone's having a good day and has had lots of fun with family. If family came over and spent time with friends and maybe, you know, had some nice foods and... I don't know. I don't even know what's really happened today. Obviously, it's just been a normal day over here in the UK, so I can't really quite talk about, like, you know, anything special I've done. It's just been a normal Saturday, but I'm sure there was lots of special things going down in America, and I hope everyone had a great time. Right. Necro Jr. is very talented. I love watching him, says Long Beach Hippie. Long Beach Hippie, shout out to you, buds. I thought that six-man was going to be a three-way, says the Beach Kevin. Daze, are we ready for some Lucha Libre, said Heart Killer Drax. And my condolences. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, to be honest, I wish we had a bigger show tonight. I wish there was like some sort of Saturday night's main event or something for us to get our teeth into. It does feel, you know, a little underwhelming in the sense of I'm quite happy to watch AAA. I enjoy watching AAA. You know, it's always going to be a good show, but I can't really like make out that this is anything special. So I suppose it's just going to be nice to hang out a little bit on a Saturday. You know, it's a good fallback, isn't it? I mean, not long ago, if there was not really much on a Saturday, we might not do a stream, whereas now we can always do AAA, because AAA just airs every Saturday. So I am very grateful for that. So, and you know the action's going to be good. And I am genuinely looking forward to the Flammer match in particular. And also finding out, hopefully, if we do, finding out who that former champion is that should be coming into AAA for a little bit. Days, so far no matches confirmed for that pay-per-view on the 25th, says Carr. Thank you. I'm sure we'll take some steps towards that. I don't know if we start doing that tonight, but it's not too far away, is it, to be honest? You know, we're probably looking at around, 3 weeks? Probably about 3 weeks. So we are going to need to, you know, start making some progress there. So maybe we'll get the main event sorted soon, tonight. Certainly if it's not tonight, it's going to have to start being next week. So, yeah, we could see some progress there. Mr. Dal Jr. said, I went ziplining today. Wow. In Georgia. It was so much fun. I would definitely recommend ziplining if you are free with family or friends or cousins, said Mr. Dal Jr. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I've never been ziplining. To be honest, like, it's something I would do. I'm not crazy about heights. I'm not someone that I think is terrible with them, but I don't know. I saw there was one at Niagara Falls that's been open for a little while. It wasn't there when I went, but it's kind of like you've got Niagara Falls and then you've got like the viewing area. It kind of just runs alongside the viewing area. So it's not like you go over the falls or anything like that, right? You kind of going by and the falls are like next to you. That looked okay. That didn't look, that wasn't too high or anything. And it just looked like a really cool view as you kind of zip line down and you've got the falls like next to you. So I would definitely do something like that. But like, I don't know, if you could zip line over the Grand Canyon or something like that, I'm out. That does not appeal. So I'm okay with heights, but when it gets like silly, when it starts getting like, let's zip line over the Grand Canyon, I'm like, no, I'm okay, thank you. So yeah, crazy. Glad to hear you had fun. Caden, hello, said Daze, did we see the Paraguay game? The Paraguay players were just kicking the hell out of the French players, and the ref didn't give a Paraguay player a yellow. The ref got paid off and should be reported. Well, they got eliminated, didn't they? So, you know, you could say that that is, you know, justice served. I didn't watch the game, to be honest. I did hear about that, though. Actually, the BBC report that I read about the game was saying that, you know, there was some disgraceful scenes and all this kind of stuff. Shocked that not a single Paraguay player got a card. But it did say that the French kind of responded by giving a bit back as well, which was not great to see. So I don't know, it seems like it was a game that was lacking some class. But France win, they progress, Paraguay go home. By the sounds of it, the neutrals are not going to be too sad to see Paraguay go. I don't know, I didn't see the game, so I can't comment. But yeah, France are through. Can't say I'm surprised at that news. I think we were all expecting France to go through. If anything, I was surprised it was only 1-0 with the goal coming in the 70th minute. I thought it was going to be much wider, margin than that. So I think if you're a Paraguay fan, you can be pleased at the fact it was, as close as it was. If you're a French supporter, you're through. And if you're neutral, you saw some dirty antics at play. The Beach Kevin said, I suspect that any WWE star who can speak Spanish will make an appearance in AAA. Maybe. Today is the 10-year anniversary of Kevin Owens getting hit with the pie by a Mysterio. Is it really 10 years? Wow. Edward said France had the fight of their World Cup lives. Bonkers said UFC 329 Connor Max next week on Sunday. Yeah, we've got plans to do that. I can't believe Dave doesn't have 1 million subs. It's a conspiracy, says Longbeard. Thank you, my friend. Well, I'm just grateful for everyone that kind of shows up. So, we're obviously there's been, things happening and whatever. We're definitely coming out of all of that. So really looking forward to getting back to, regular videos and everything. Thankfully, there's been no disruption to streams. We've been here for all the Raws and the SmackDowns. Obviously, we didn't do NXT. But I think the NXT stream we missed this week was the first one in years that we didn't do. But other than that, we were back the next day doing Evolve. We did SmackDown. We got a full week next week. Things we're in a good place. So just need to get going with, Unseens and, dialing that back up. And I need to get my head around what we're going to do with little reaction clips and everything. Things are okay at the moment. As I said, I'm very grateful for everyone that continues to join us and join in with the conversation. Jocelyn said it was a great game, but sad to see Paraguay go. I'm excited for Norway, Brazil. I'm going to be wearing my Haaland jersey. Well, I must admit, I'm a little worried because tomorrow it's Mexico, England. And I mean, the conversation over here is just all about altitude. It's all about, can England cope with playing that high? It's like 7,000 feet, 2,000 meters above sea level. Apparently, you can't catch your breath. Mexican players have been playing there, so they've got more red blood cells. I mean, I've learned all about this. I think I know everything there is to know about altitude performance. It's just the big topic of conversation over here. Is it even fair that we're going there to have to play this game when we don't have as many red blood cells as the Mexicans do because they've been playing at altitude, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's in agreement. It's going to be really difficult. And I'll tell you what the killer was. I'll tell you what really hurt. There's a dog on YouTube that predicts results. And all the dog does is he sits on a sofa, right, and just knocks a tennis ball off the edge of the sofa. And his owner has built this like wooden box. The ball goes in and it kind of hits a load of nails that have been hammered in, and it winds its way down, and then on the one side it's got the one team, on the other side it's got the other team, like a little pot, and the ball goes finds its way down, and whatever pot it lands in, that's what the dog predicts. And I'll be honest, I've yet to see the dog be wrong. In all fairness though, my mum made a really good point. She was like, it's not really the dog that's predicting it. The dog's just pushing the ball, and then the ball goes down the thing, and then it goes into one of the pots. Like, it's not like the dog's going, yeah, it's going to be this team, or it's going to be that team. Like, the dog pushes the ball, but from that point, it could go either way. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point, actually. But anyway, flipping Mexico won, didn't it? England, Mexico. And I was sat there going, come on, go into the England pot. Go into the England pot, please. Because I've yet to see this thing be wrong. I've yet to see this dog be wrong. And it predicts every game. And for some reason, like when it's Argentina, Cape Verde, it's Argentina, Well, when it's going down, like, I need to go back and have a look at some of the big upsets. I need to have a look like when Paraguay knocked out Germany or when Cape Verde drew with Argentina. I need to see what the dog predicted for those. But every time, like, every time France play, it picks France. It's got everything right that I've seen. I will admit I've not seen every one. I've probably seen about 10 or 11, but every one has been correct. And now it's just released, obviously, its prediction for England. And flipping, it's Mexico. It's gone with Mexico. So I'm feeling terrible. We're as good as out as far as I'm concerned. That's it. It's over. The dog has spoken. So, yeah. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of concern over here in England at the moment. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Brazil-Norway is going to be a lot of fun. What a great game that's going to be. Norway can cause Brazil serious problems. I mean, you can get at both teams. I think both teams have got weaknesses. It should be Brazil, but it could be penalties or extra time or something. And when you've got Erling Haaland on your team like Norway do, you're never really out of it. So I suppose you could say that for England, really. When you've got Harry Kane on your team, you're never really out of it. You know, you could be a couple of goals behind, and look at what he did the other day. Bang, bang, 75th minute, 85th minute, 2-2. So, you know, England just gotta believe. Yeah. Screw that dog. That's what I'm saying. Screw that dog. England are going to get knocked out by a frog splash and a 6-1-9. Yeah, that's true, actually. We're tuning in, aren't we, to a Mexican wrestling show on the eve of England-Mexico. I probably shouldn't watch this show tonight out of protest. Yeah? Because a load of Mexican fans right now, I believe, are trying to keep England awake at their hotel. Because they did that with Ecuador. They set fireworks off and parked their cars outside, honking horns all night. And they know where England are staying. There's been an increase in security around the hotel. But, yeah, you know they're going to try again. Of course they're going to try. Of course they're going to try. This is the last game, I think, in Mexico. They're going to use that to their advantage. So, yeah, not feeling brilliant about it. Reese said, Daze, how are you? I live in Budapest, but I'm in America right now for the next few weeks. Looking forward to the AAA stream. Reese, shout out to you, my friends. Hope you're enjoying America. Joe said, I do still think England will find a way, says Joe. Genuinely, if England do get past Mexico in Mexico, I genuinely think it could be the biggest World Cup moment ever that I've seen in my life for England. I mean, England have always obviously been at World Cups throughout my life, but they are just, all my memories are of spectacular failure. You know, I remember all the times that we play teams and just get knocked out in these rounds. There's actually not a big catalogue of victories in my mind. Obviously we won the World Cup in 66, so I mean we've never won the World Cup in my life, and to be honest, we've never really got that far in the World Cup in my life. You know, we played France last time, I think, in the quarterfinals, and we lost 2-1 and went out. We're not quite at the quarterfinals yet. We've got one more. Obviously, got to win this to get to the quarters. So we did get one round further than this last time. Although this year there's an extra round that's been added. So, you know, bottom line is, if we can beat Mexico in Mexico with the challenges of altitude, the heat of Mexico, all that stuff, right? I genuinely think it'll be maybe the number one biggest achievement that I've ever seen England do at a World Cup. I think it would be number one. They did win a penalty shootout against Colombia in 2018, which meant they got to the semi-finals. That's probably my number one at the moment. But I think if they can beat Mexico in Mexico with that amazing crowd, I think that might take top spot. If not, it'd be a very close second to beating Colombia on penalties. It's actually not a brilliant list of achievements England have got when it comes to World Cup moments in recent tournaments. So yeah, huge, absolutely huge. That's that match, and I don't know which way it's going to go. The flipping dog has said it's not going to go well. Days we played Norway or Brazil. It's the same stadium where Maradona did the Hand of Gods. Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about Norway and Brazil, to be honest, because I actually think that's going to be a little bit easier in the sense of, not that the game will be easy, but I just think we're back in America. We should get a good night's sleep. We won't have to worry about altitude. Do you know what I mean? We'll be into the quarters. Yeah, the game will be tough, but at least it feels, I don't want to say fair, because that makes it sound like I'm moaning, but I don't know. It really feels like the odds are stacked against us right now. Having to go to Mexico and play in front of the Mexican fans, who were some of the craziest fans in the world, and it's the altitude that's the problem. It's them keeping you up at night so you can't sleep, but it's the altitude. It's the fact that you are apparently gonna really feel it, that all these former football players keep coming on TV going, no, you don't understand. I've played at altitude. You really feel it. It's bad. And like, you've got all these people coming on saying that, and eventually you're like, oh, this sounds awful. This sounds really awful. So actually, if we get through this and just go back to America and just play at sea level and just play a normal game of football, at least it might not be easy, but at least it'll be certainly more straightforward. So, yeah, man, England, but they knew this was an option. They knew this could happen. They've got to have prepared for this. They've got to have. When we all saw the draw, we all worked out, okay, well, if that happens, that happens, that happens. Everyone saw that a game against Mexico in Mexico was possible. This has come as a surprise to nobody. So I hope they got their preparation right for this. Obviously, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what their plans are. We don't know what they're working on. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I hope they've got it right. The dog certainly doesn't think they have. So, yeah, massive game for England tomorrow. But it's brilliant games happening at the moment. I mean, sad to see Canada go. To be honest, not surprised. I think a lot of people probably looked at it and went, yeah, this will be where they get eliminated. I think they gave a good account of themselves. So, you know, I don't think there's anything they should be embarrassed about to be going out at this stage. Certainly not. It might be the same stage England go out at. But yeah, against Morocco are different gravy. And that sets up France-Morocco, which should be a banger. That should be seriously good. Morocco are a seriously good team. So France have got a real job on that. Probably the first. Is it unfair to say France's first difficult game of this tournament? Might be unfair, I'm not sure. But I think, seriously, this is a team that can push France all the way. This could go penalties. France against Morocco. So that'll be a hell of a quarterfinal game. Bruce said, I got bored of watching the football tonight, so I went to WWE 2K. I'm trying to do a Hell's Gate with The Undertaker, and I can't remember the Hell's Gate move. Oh, it's like a triangle choke, isn't it? It's where he wraps his legs around them and sort of tries to choke them out. So it's like a down on the ground kind of triangle choke thing. Undertaker on his back with them on top, his legs wrapped around, and that he's kind of using his shin to kind of choke them out. It's like a triangle. So, that's good. That's cool. 2K it's honestly a game I wish I had some time for. I remember playing SmackDown versus Raw 2008. I put a lot of time into that game. Really, I as I was growing up, I've played like most of the games. I'm actually going through a period right now where I'm probably less active with the wrestling games than I've ever been. I've pretty much played most of them throughout the years. Obviously, the Attitude Era stuff coming out of it, Here Comes the Pain, you know, all of that was No Mercy as well. All of those classics, absolutely amongst the very, very best. But I don't know, I spent a summer in 2008. I just broke up with a girl, and so I had time. And I remember 2008 really putting some time into that game, because I was single and hadn't been single for a few years. So I was putting some time into that game. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I was putting some time in, and it was like GM mode and everything, and I was just like really enjoying the game. I'd played the previous ones, but not. I think with those games, the more you put in, the more you get out, isn't it? I've always enjoyed picking up and having a quick match, but to be honest, if you just do that, you don't really get to learn the moves properly. You obviously don't get to do like a career mode or anything. So the more time you put into those games, the more you actually get out of them. And I did that in 08 and I really enjoyed it. But to be honest with you, I haven't done it since. I haven't done that since. I haven't actually like gone in and like really put time into those games. So yeah, I'd like to find some time to do that. I won't. I know I won't. But that 2008 summer was pretty cool. Hello, King Yeti. Hope you're doing well. Calvin, shout out to you, my friends. Big time. Hello. Said Daze, it hit me last night. Oh, here we go. It hit me last night. Seeing Sammy with the WWE title looked off when he wasn't in his gear and just brought in a tank top. But I'm still happy that he's champion. It is true world title should be for the guy. It is true that the world title should be for the guy, says Big Time. Okay. Miss Dell Jr. said, Daze, will you do a watch along tomorrow because of it being a massive game? No, we we're not doing like World Cup watch alongs. So it's a massive game, but it doesn't change any kind of watch along situations. The Navaldo says that the golden generation should have won it at least once. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because it was a golden generation, but when you look at the other teams, they were having golden generations as well. We just didn't really think of it that way. So actually, if you look at Brazil now and you look at their team now, you know, they don't have Ronaldinho and, you know, Rivaldo and Roberto Carlos and all these players. But actually, if you go back to the 2000s, they did have Ronaldinho and all that. I mean, I'm sure that Brazil must look back at their kind of teams from that generation as a sort of golden generation, if you will. I certainly think England should have been more competitive. But I don't know, you'd look at the French at that time and they've got Zidane, you know, and they've got Desailly and all these types of players. Granted, France have still got an incredible team now, but they had an incredible team back then as well. I think that England at that time just had a team that was arguably one of its most competitive. And I think actually England then had teams that weren't competitive. So we look at it as a golden generation. But actually, I don't think it was the best even then on the world stage. I just think it was one of the more competitive eras for England. So I don't know that they should have won something, but I do think they should have been more competitive. And I certainly don't think any manager got the best out of them. We certainly should have been in the mix a lot more. Semi-finals, maybe reaching finals. But I don't know. I mean, we went out, didn't we, to Brazil? I can't remember the year for that one. Was it 02? We went out to Brazil with Ronaldinho chipping over David Seaman, our goalkeeper. And, I mean, that team was just ridiculous that they had. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was just a really special time for football. But, I mean, you look now and, like, maybe we'll look back on this as a bit of a golden generation because I feel like England are in the mix. We've just got to get past this flipping altitude Mexico game. And then, genuinely, if we go up against Norway or even if we go up against Brazil, I think we can land some shots on them. I don't feel like we've got to cower and be scared. I feel like we can stand with our chests out and, you know, throw a few punches. We'll take some punches. We'll throw a few punches. Let's have a good fight and let's see who wins. Let's see who stays standing. I feel like England have got the ability to do that now with Bellingham and Kane and Saka if he can get going, and Rice, Anderson tidying things up in midfields. You know, I do think we need to work on our wingers, whatever, but I don't know. We're not here to get so deep into football, but yeah, it's very exciting. We knew the World Cup would come alive when it got to this stage. Every game matters at this point, so yeah, very good, very exciting. I just hope that England's World Cup journey can continue beyond tomorrow night, and set up something really juicy against either Norway or probably more likely Brazil. But right, Daze, from all the free agents we've got, like Mike Santana, Baron Corbin, Enzo and Cass, Zilla, who would we be most excited for? I would be most excited out of that list for Mike Santana. The reason why I say that is because I've actually watched him as he was trying to win the championship in TNA, and I thought he was brilliant. I think he's very good at sort of having a connection with the audience and kind of being in those dramatic moments. I mean, I saw him win that TNA championship and then his daughter getting in the ring, and it was lovely. He was fantastic, and watching him trying to get to that championship, it was really good. I thought it was a really good story. I thought they told it pretty well. Didn't like the fact that I heard he lost it so soon after winning it. I have no idea what that was all about. But I did actually watch a TNA show where he finally got his hands on the championship. And we also have seen him a couple of times in NXT in singles matches, and his match quality has always been good. So to me, he's got a decent size, he's got experience, he's someone that brings credibility. I think he can talk, I think he can wrestle, I think his match quality is good. I think that you can do some stuff with him straight out of the gate. I don't think there's much learning needed there. He might need to just adapt a little bit to the WWE style, which is very much involving the crowds, working the cameras, that kind of stuff, going to commercial break, certain moves of bands. Sometimes it's a case of dialing up your presentation and not dialing down the wrestling, but the wrestling, as we said, it is got to fit a more of a TV format, and it's got to be done in a certain way that appeals to WWE. So as we said, you can't do certain moves. There's a long list of banned moves. I mean, it's very rare that you'll see someone in WWE doing a vertebraker, for example. So, but I think I don't know what the crossover is like with TNA. I think TNA is probably quite similar to WWE. So I think coming from TNA over to WWE should help. It's not like you're coming from New Japan or something like that. So, yeah, coming from TNA, I think will be of assistance there, because I think their style is largely similar. So, yeah, Mike Santana, that'd be the one I'd be most excited for. I think Zilla's overhyped, massively overhyped. I think that he's an interesting prospect. I think he's definitely one for the future. I think most people that shout about him haven't watched him. I think that they've seen clips, and, there's a real... You won't convince me there's not a bandwagon for him. I feel like if I brought him in, I'd be putting him in NXT, and I'd be working and trying to make him a monster and, putting that work in. But I really feel like that work is necessary. I really feel like there's work that needs to be done there. I do not feel like he is at the same level as a Mike Santana. Great prospects, definitely one for the future, but I think there's a lot of work to be done. And I really believe that he's getting a lot of hype. And I think that actually when people start kind of watching him work, I could totally believe that, there'll be a backlash where people are watching him and the matches aren't really grabbing, and, perhaps he's not in the best storylines. And, I could start to see there being this backlash. So... Not necessarily against him, but just I think the bubble will pop. You see it happen all the time. You see people hyping up people, and then after a while it all kind of, dies down and kind of goes. So he could be a victim of that. I genuinely think, and again, I'm not saying anyone here, but I genuinely think there is a lot of that happens where people get hyped up. Oh my God, have you seen this person? Everyone wants to be in on the know. Everyone wants to look like, oh yeah, no, yeah, Zilla, amazing, fantastic. But actually, all they've seen is a few clips. And that's it. But they'll quite happily jump on the bandwagon and hype him up like he's the next Roman Reigns, From what I've seen of him, I think there's definitely work to be done, and that's why for me I'd be putting him in NXT. So definitely one for the future. I'm not down. I don't think he's like a no hope, completely rubbish. Far from it. I think he's a good prospect, but I think prospect is definitely the word. In regards to Baron Corbin, I don't really get him coming back, apart from if you just want him to be a solid person to have in the mid-card, If you just want him to be someone that can come in and have some matches and put a few people over. I mean, maybe unless he's going to be Danhausen's monster, and that's the role that they've got for him. I don't know. I find that one a bit of a head-scratcher, to be honest. I never really felt like he connected with the audience that well. There was maybe a couple of times, I think most people would say Happy Corbin, Bum-ass Corbin. That period there was probably the best that he connected. Outside of that, I don't think anyone cared. I really don't think anyone was that bothered by him. So, and I don't think he's massively reinvented himself or anything. So I don't know, man. Maybe they've got something special in mind, but I can only think that they feel like they've got a lot of new stars. I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? You've got a lot of young emerging talent. What are you going to do? Have them beat each other so that, a young talent is getting over another young talent? Is it not better to have them beat a Matt Cardona and have them beat a Baron Corbin and have them beat, some a Rusev or some established names so that they don't have to get the better of each other? So you can sort of understand how he would fit in that way. So I wonder if that's part of the logic. Enzo has always been very charismatic. I must admit, it's a massive surprise, though, because I thought he had a terrible relationship with Triple H. So that, to me, is a big surprise. But perhaps they've sort of looked at the landscape and thought, we need some fun. We need, it's all quite dull and serious and bland, and we need a bit of humor in there. I think Danhausen's been a massive success. I feel like Enzo can bring that. Big Cass, of course, bringing him back in is a big guy. You could see Big Cass and Tala kind of going at it. You could see Big Cass maybe being a victim to Oba at some point. That's a match that we could do. Just not a big deal, not big feuds. But I don't know, could you see Oba being in a tag team taking on Enzo and Big Cass? I could see that. I could see that if we so wanted to go down that road. I could see it being a case of it being, I don't know, perhaps Danhausen and Oba, if there's Enzo and Cass coming in their heels and they're picking on Danhausen. Danhausen gets Oba. That means you've got Danhausen getting in there with Enzo, and then you'd have Oba stepping in there with Big Cass. And I could see something there. I could see Big Cass just being in the tag team, eventually breaking out. I don't think they'd keep those two together forever. They didn't the first time round. So I could see them sort of splitting them apart again, only hopefully this time doing it a little bit better than they did last time. Kind of felt a bit like Big Cass was a bit lost when they separated. And for some reason, Enzo found himself going into that cruiserweight division. We did the cruiserweight 205 live thing, and Enzo ended up kind of going into that. I didn't really understand that, to be honest. I thought it was okay in the short term, but I don't know, he just seemed to die in that division. So yeah, I don't know, I'd love to get some of the reasoning as to why some of these people are coming in, like Baron, like Enzo, like Big Cass. I can only imagine for Enzo it's a bit of charisma. I can only imagine for Baron it's to do with maybe having some young talent go over him, or maybe one of them is going to be the monster for Danhausen and there is a specific role for one of them. But for me, out of all of them, the person I feel the biggest connection with, the person that I'd be rooting for the most, the person I'd want to see succeed the most, the person I'd probably enjoy watching wrestle the most, the person that I'd be enjoying listening to on the microphone the most would be Mike Santana. I've been very impressed with what I've seen of him so far. Chris said, it's true, people are doing that with Zilla. I don't have anything against him, but he hypes himself too, so I guess we'll see, says Chris. Yeah, and again, I don't want to say it's anyone here, because I really have not, I'm not thinking of any name of anyone in the community or anything. But you just see it all the time online. I think he's very good at teasing that he's coming in. He's put out lots of teases, and so I feel like every PLE, we get people jumping in going, Zilla's going to be at this Royal Rumble. Zilla will be in the Rumble. Zilla's going to help Roman. Because, he's very good at making you believe that that is what he's going to do. And to be honest, it gets a bit annoying for me when, it's so obvious that he's just playing the social media game. But, there's people out there that bite and they, fall for it. And he's done that a lot. And I think, as a result, it's worked for him in the sense of people have kind of got to know that there is another Fatu that's out there. He's got a decent look, of course. You wouldn't want to be walking down a dark alley with him coming towards you. He's got, size-wise, he's pretty decent. Attitude, seems to have a bit of a bad attitude. So, I mean, there's definitely, something there. There's definitely a prospect there. But, I just don't subscribe to this. You're part of that family, so automatically you're going to be amazing type stuff, To me, I want to see what you can do on your own merit. It's funny, isn't it, how the people that have a pop at, say, Charlotte, because she's Ric Flair's daughter, are also the same people that are like, oh, Zilla Fatu, man, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. They're so excited about another Bloodline member coming in and basing it off a couple of clips. So, yeah, for me, let's bring him in. Let's take a look at him. Let's get going. Definitely a prospect there. I mean, I don't want it lost in translation that I think he sucks or that I think he's going to be a terrible addition. I mean, I've always felt like he would come in eventually. It was just, can he get to the standard that's required for entry and maybe sort a little bit of his attitude out? And, I am seeing him as well sort of acting a little bit like, it's my family's right to be there. My family's there. I'm going to get there. I mean, it's good to believe in yourself, but I don't know, when does that confidence become arrogance? I feel like this has been what he's always wanted. He's worked towards it. But yeah, there's definitely been times where it's felt a little bit like he's been talking about how it's inevitable and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, man, you got to do the work to get there. There is a cost of entry. They don't just open the door because you are part of that family. Although I don't know how true that is, right? But you got to walk the walk. One thing I would say about Charlotte is I've seen lots of great Charlotte matches, which is why I'll always push back on people that say she's only there because she's Ric Flair's daughter. It's like, no, you haven't watched her matches then, have you? Because she's had some fantastic WrestleMania matches. Her matches with Becky, her matches with Rhea, she's had some fantastic matches at WrestleMania, but not even that. I mean, just various different shows, her matches with Sasha in the early days. Maybe people find her annoying or irritating, but she was very athletic. She threw herself into it. She had some great feuds. I thought she played the heel role really, really well. People hated her, and that probably didn't help people's perception, because they probably did actually hate her. She was working a heel, and she probably worked it really well. So it's funny, isn't it? You don't hear so much people saying they hate Charlotte and that she's Ric Flair's daughter since she's been a face and been hanging around Alexa. But when she was a heel and she was being quite arrogant, you heard people really down on her. So I wonder if she was just a really good heel. and actually she did manage to work a few people. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think he's a great prospect. I think they're absolutely right to bring him in. For me personally, I'd put him in NXT. I don't know what they're going to do. We've seen examples, a lot of them putting people straight onto the main roster. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. But it will be nice to not have people constantly saying that Zilla's coming in, Zilla's coming in, Zilla's coming. I feel like it was every PLE for the past couple of years that we were getting at least someone jumping in saying that. So, yeah, apparently he's in, he's signed, it's done, it's happening. I think we did even get an update on it today with there being... I'm sure I read something about him. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, lives with her new boyfriend. Landon Hardwick shares a happy 4th post with women's champion Liv Morgan. So apparently, I think he does real estate or something like this. So that is Liv's partner. So Liv with her partner, looks like they've gone official. Yeah, I'm sure I saw something today about Zilla. Perhaps I didn't. Perhaps I dreamt it. Oba, Miss. No. Perhaps I dreamt it. I'm sure I heard that he's in. Mark Briscoe, no. No. I must have dreamt it or seen it somewhere else. I'm sure I saw a post that was like, he's in, he's signed, it's happening. I'll have a look, see if I can find it. We will get back to Unseens soon. Right. Zilla is overrated, said Bruce. I've seen his videos. He does need to take some baby steps before he comes to the big time. Chris said, I'm not saying that neither, but so many believe that Zilla should just start on the main roster. Solo was in NXT first. Hoping for the best for him, though. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that, to be honest. Daze, will Strowman come back, said Bruce. I don't know. I mean, I think Strowman makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because he has got that show, hasn't he? He's doing that cooking show. So, to me, he's getting like a bit of buzz. His stock's a little bit higher. There's a few more people that know about him, that didn't know about him, that probably are fans of that show. So, I think as that show gets more and more successful, I think the chances of him returning get greater and greater. So, yeah, I think if he can really, you know, get some momentum going for himself, then yeah, he could find his way back. I can't really, it's hard to answer because I don't really understand why we're bringing back Baron Corbin. I mean, if it is to put others over and Baron is happy to do that, then of course the question would be, would Braun be happy to do that? Because Braun against Oba makes a lot of sense, but Oba's got to go over. So, you know, Oba would have to be getting the victory there. Days, the Cena tournament nearly 2 months ago. We've not heard a peep from WWE. Got to imagine that WWE didn't think this through. Oh, no, they definitely didn't think it through. I think Cena was not clear about that, but I think he was... I think what's happened is John has had an idea, right? And I think they needed an announcement for, you know, that show, because they said it was going to be a big announcement. We all thought it was going to be Club WWE, but I mean, what the flip's going on with that? Because that's seemingly not ready. So I don't know why John didn't just make some announcements about Club WWE. Like, just give us some ideas of some of the exclusive stuff that's coming, and just, you know, but perhaps they thought that wasn't big enough. I think they were working on this thing, and I think that they wanted to let us know like what the thoughts were and where it currently was with its development. But the truth is, where it currently is not very developed, because I think a lot of the concerns that we voiced are now concerns that John has got as well. So, for example, John has come out recently and said, when it comes to the fan vote, he does not want that to be hijacked. He says, I know there's people that have got like Stan accounts and, burner accounts, and I don't want it to be a case that people are getting voted and awarded the kind of Performer of the Night award if they weren't really Performer of the Night. And to be honest, that was our concern as well, is that you're going to watch a show. And I mean, again, it's not crystal clear, but my understanding is that they're just singles matches. There's no tournament. It's just a night of singles matches. And then at the end, we vote for who the best performer was of the night, who put in the best performance. And the concern is that if Rhea Ripley is on the show, or if Roman Reigns is on the show, all the Roman fans are voting Roman. Yeah. And you know what? It's the same problem with football and the World Cup, because Cristiano Ronaldo basically won man of the match the other day, and it turned out that the people that vote for that are, I think, the people in the stadium or something. I don't know how it works, but it's some sort of public vote, and so Cristiano Ronaldo won man of the match the other day. And anyone that watched the game was like, no, he was not the best player on the pitch. I was listening to a Portuguese reporter actually saying that award is irrelevant now. Like, even though he's a Portuguese supporter, he was like, Ronaldo was not the best player that day. But he said, there's people that go to the stadium that are not Portugal fans or fans of the other team. They're Ronaldo fans. Like, they just support Ronaldo. And so, of course, he was going to win it. And WWE are going to have that exact same problem. How are you going to have a public vote if you've got Roman on the show where, if Chad Gable puts in the best performance of the night, or Leon Slater, or maybe Kendall Gray, how's Roman not winning it if he's on the show? I don't know how you correct that unless you do, like, for every 3 main roster votes, there's 1 vote for NXT. But I don't even know if that's fair. I don't even know if that would be fair. I don't even know if you can do it. I don't even know if anyone cares. Do you even need to do it? Do you even need to do it? I mean, I do like the idea of fans sort of having involvement, but I think it would be better if you had all the main roster people that you wanted to feature, and then we vote on who faces them. So Roman Reigns is going to be at this show in December. Which of these stars do you want to see Roman take on? List of 4, 5, 10, and we vote as to who we want to see, which NXT star we want to see take on Roman Reigns. And you've got a list of names and you vote. And you know what? I mean, you might click on it and go, I'm not sure who these names are. But it might make you check them out. It might make you go and search for who these people are. Surely that's better. Surely that's what we should be encouraging, And then whoever wins gets to face Roman Reigns. And of course, you wouldn't just have names you've never heard of. It might be Tony D'Angelo. It might be Miles Bourne. It might be Elijah Holyfield. It might be Keanu Carver. It could be like some really well-known names and not so well. It could be Naraku. It could be Will Cruz. So Mason Rook. So that's for like more interesting to me. And I don't think that there would be like as big of a problem there, because I don't know. Has Naraku got like an army of fans that are going to vote for him? Maybe. I ain't never seen him. But I think that would be a little more fair than trying to vote for who put in the best performance of the night. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think they needed to announce some. I thought it was going to be Club WWE. Instead, they announced kind of this rough idea that they had, which I don't think they just created for the announcement. I think they genuinely were thinking of putting this show together. I think this is a genuine John Cena project. So I don't think it was like, quick, we need some, what should we do? And they just created this for the announcement. I think they genuinely were going to do it. But no, it certainly was not finalized, or, I think it is still very much a work in development. So it's rumored to be at the end of the it's rumored to be obviously main roster against NXT. Some people interpreted it as being a tournament. I did not. I just thought it was singles matches. And then at the end of the night, we vote. Doesn't matter if the person won or if the person lost, who put in the best performance. And then they win the John Cena Classic award or whatever. So but yeah, it was good to hear John the other day say that he's very aware that like the voting element could be hijacked, because it's like, yeah, good. But in a way, I suppose it's not a bad thing that they've told us and they can get our feedback, because they've seen the reaction was not overwhelmingly positive. They've seen that everyone went, I'm not sure about this, And so it's better to get that feedback now than do it and go, oh, it turns out no one enjoyed it, So in a way, it's kind of good that they've done that and they've got the reaction. The only thing is, they sort of promised a big announcement, and I think you could say they failed to deliver. But listen, that ain't the first time that's happened, and it certainly ain't going to be the last either. Happy 4th of July, said Wrestle Andy. What's your all-time favourite trip to America, says Andy. Oh, that's a good question, Andy. There's a few that kind of come to mind, to be honest with you. So, yeah, there's a few that kind of come to mind. I remember, the first time I ever went was 97. And I remember kind of going to toy shops, getting some Jax figures. I remember just being sort of, doing the parks, just, proper family holiday. I was with my younger brother. I've only got one brother, a younger brother, and like he wanted to get the autographs of the costumed characters and whatever. And so, we were kind of going up to these different characters, getting them to sign his book and whatnot. And, just kind of going on some of the roller coasters and the rides. And to be honest, I don't have loads of memories from that. I remember going to Ponderosa, which was like all-you-can-eat place. So you paid money and then you could just keep going up and, they had all-you-can-eat stuff. And it was a steakhouse as well, so you could order like great steak and whatever. But I don't know, I think that first one was quite special. But then I went a few times with friends from work in the 2000s. And, I got some great memories from that. I actually just found my camera, I've been talking about, like, trying to find it. It turned up. On one of the tapes that I've got, there is going to be footage from Niagara Falls from WWE Shop, which is not Florida. But there should be some footage from inside that shop. I don't think there's tons of WWE Niagara Falls shop footage. There is some out there, but I may have my very own. So I'm very excited to see if I can find that. I don't think there's going to be any footage from inside toy shops. We weren't really filming, you're not really thinking about filming inside toy shops. Like, why would I do that? So I don't think I'm going to have anything like that. But yeah, I think my favorite one, it might be 2018, It might be 2018. I really did enjoy 2024, but it might be 2018 because in 2018 we went to we stayed at this lovely place. It was kind of like a house. It was like an Airbnb thing. So we had kind of our own house, like layout, our own kitchen, living room, all that stuff, right? And it was a lovely own swimming pool in the back. It was great. Proper, the kind of house that, someone in Florida would live in. And so that was cool. Down the road was a Walmart. So, literally a minute in a car, you were at a Walmart. I mean, I could have walked it and got there in like, 15 minutes. And obviously they sold figures there. So I was able to go there very easily to do a little look around, a little toy hunt. Over the road actually was a restaurant called Manny's, and it's honestly one of the best places I've ever been to. It's just the restaurant. I think it's like my favorite restaurant in the world because it's got like all license plates on the around the ceiling and like old tin signs and everything. It's got like a car hanging upside down on the roof and whatever. But like you go in and it's really warm, obviously in Florida. You go in, the beer is great, ice cold, it's not flat or anything. You order the food, they'll bring a salad bowl over, mix the salad at your table, give you some of that salad, leave the bowl if you want some more. But it's so fresh and it's just so tasty. And then, of course, you order your food like steaks and burgers, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, the steak would come in, it'd be a great size, really well cooked. The prices, certainly back in 2018, I'd imagine it's drastically changed now from what I know about America. But back in 2018, it was very affordable. It was really, really well priced. It was kind of like £20 for a steak or something, which, considering the size, you'd be paying like 50 odd pounds in the UK. I mean, it was like really, really well priced. You could go there, have a meal and not feel like you've just blown your budget. Again, I would imagine we're talking 8 years ago. We know what's happened in the world. We know the cost of living has increased. We know that it's not the same place now. So I'm sure their prices are drastically higher now. But it's funny, actually. We went to a restaurant in around 2008, 2010 in Florida. We'd been driving for ages, and we pulled over, and it was a place that had license plate, car upside down, salad to the table. This was in the middle of nowhere, or at least it felt like the middle of nowhere. And we were just tired. We'd been at the parks. I think we'd been at Busch Gardens, and we were tired, and we just wanted something to eat, and we just went into this restaurant. And you go in, and it was just amazing. And we've always said we'd love to go back to that place because it was so good. And that was 2010. And no word of a lie, 2018, we're staying in this place, and literally over the road, few doors down, we go into this restaurant. It's like, that looks a little bit like this place. It was exactly the same. It was exactly the same. And it was like, I cannot believe this. Like, this is mental. Like, there's no way it was the restaurant. And they do have several. But I mean, it's not, Manny's is not a massive chain. It's not like they've got hundreds. They've got about 10, 12, something like that. So we must have gone into one and then just by absolute chance stayed in a place that was very close to another one. So 2018, with Walmart being so close, Manny's being over the road, me being away with my parents, which I hadn't done. I hadn't been like away with my parents for, 15 years or whatever, 10, 15 years. I mean, it had been a long time. So, it was kind of nice to just spend a bit of time with them, doing a bit of toy hunting, just pottering around. It's a different sort of holiday, isn't it, when you're not with mates? When you're with mates, you're kind of always having a laugh, going to bars. Do you know what I mean? Going to clothes shops or whatever. But I don't know, I was just more pottering around with my parents. It was really cool. It was great. We had a great time. And my dad has said that he really wants to go back to Florida, really wants to go back because he loves it as much as I love it. And he wants me to go, my brother to go. He wants my family, aunts, cousins. He wants everyone to go. He said he's going to help out financially, whatever. We ain't got loads of money, but he'll do whatever he can to make that happen. That's his one wish. That's the one thing he wants, is he wants the family to all go over to Florida and just have a really great time. Do you know what I mean? Spend a day at the parks, You know, people can run off and go off on the rides, whatever, but then we go out for a big meal on the night, and that's what he wants to do. So I could be going back to Florida within the next 5 years. I mean, obviously that'll be something that I'll need seriously saving up for, but I could be going back within the next 3 to 5 years and just having this big kind of family holiday thing. I never seem to be able to escape the place, to be honest. I'm always going back to Florida. Florida's like the one place I always go. But to be honest, you know, I went last year to Egypt. I had the opportunity to go to Egypt. Again, my folks were going. And, you know, I was able to kind of travel over with them. And it was fine. But, I mean, it's a completely different holiday. That is like wake up, go outside, sun, not really anything else to do. I filled my time by going to every bar in the complex. I think there was about 13 bars in the complex. There was one in reception. There was one on the east side, one on the west side. There was a beach hut on the beach. There was a proper, they called it the Escape, which was kind of down in the corner by the beach. That was quite nice, actually. There was another one in the complex we were staying in. There was one in the, you know, in the restaurant. Dotted around this complex, there was like 13 bars where you could get drinks. And I was like, I'm going to get a drink from everyone. I'm going to get a beer at everyone. So I just did that over like, you know, 5-6 days, just ticked off a few each day. And yeah, I just had to do that to kind of keep myself entertained. It was very, very different holiday to Florida, where you're always out, always going. So if no one's ever been, like, I really recommend. It's so much fun, and going to see NXT live is fantastic. It's if I go again, it's the one thing I'll always want to do is go and see NXT live, because you are, I mean, you could have gone last year to NXT live and seen Obafemi. And so I really do not understand why more people don't do it. I don't understand why the crowds are not bigger for NXT live, because last year you could have seen Trick, you could have seen Javon, you could have seen Fatal Influence, you could have seen Obafemi in a room of like 300 people. How does that make any sense? I think it's because, you know, they're not the biggest names at that point, but it doesn't matter. Just go knowing that you are going to see someone that is going to make it to the main roster. And then you can say that you saw them in front of a few hundred people. It doesn't even matter if you look at the roster and you don't really recognize any names. One of them's going to make it, you know? I mean, even if you went now, you're going to be seeing the likes of Naraku. You're going to be seeing the likes of Tatum, Lola Vice, Kendall Gray. Kendall Gray's going to make it. Callie Armstrong, I believe she's going to make it. You might see Elijah Holyfield, Kiana Carver. They've got great potential. Obviously, you'd be seeing Tony and Miles, maybe a bit Hank and Tank, maybe Jackson Drake, maybe Vanity Project, maybe Mika, you know? Absolute jacked female that's kind of this generation's China, right? Or certainly the closest we've got. But yeah, who knows? Takahashi might be coming in. Zilla might be coming in. So definitely I'd go to NXT if I went back. So yeah, lots of fun memories. I'm sure you've got lots of memories as well, Andy. You've gone to America a lot of times. Maybe, I don't know if you've been to Florida, bud, but I know you've certainly been obviously going over for WrestleMania. So you've probably got more memories than me when it comes to America. Miss Dal Jr. said, Daze, should WWE do more international cities like Mexico, Brazil, Spain? I don't know. I think it's a balance. I think you've got to, obviously their biggest audience is America. It's where they were founded. It's where their biggest, largest fan base is. You've got to find a balance of not underserving that, because the more you're away internationally, the more you are leaving opportunity for an AEW to serve your audience whilst you're away. So, yes, you've got to grow internationally. But equally, you've got to still serve America. There's maybe an argument for there being a touring group that just go around all the time the world. Do you know what I mean? Just go from city to city putting on shows. I mean, think you could go from all these different countries with this group of superstars that just kind of go around, and if someone's needed, you call them off the tour. If someone's not needed, like the Street Profits weren't, or Rusev wasn't, you send them on the tour, you know? Like Omos could be on that tour just going around and whatever. There's maybe an argument that we get the roster to a place where not only have we got enough people to deliver Raw and SmackDown, but, you know, we've got excess where we can just have a group that just go around, so that we're kind of, you know, serving everyone. We've got a group of performers out there that are, you know, putting on shows globally, but we've equally got people that are putting on Raw, putting on SmackDown. It's, you know, we need to find a way of finding that balance. So I think WWE have turned it up and done a great job of getting more international PLEs. I mean, we're doing more than ever now, not even remotely close, more than ever. So you could do more, of course, but the more you do international, the less you're doing in America, and there has to be a balance. So I think they're okay at the moment. I think what they're doing right now feels fine. You know, it's about, what, 60-40 maybe when it comes to PLEs. A lot of it being the Saudi deal, of course. You know, the Saudi deal is the big one that's taken WWE out of America. If that Saudi deal falls through, then hopefully they replace those shows with other international shows. Because I do think there's growth for WWE in various markets globally. Certainly they've targeted Europe. Definitely they've targeted Europe. You know, look at all the shows they're doing in Europe. I think they feel pretty good about, like, their foothold in the UK, but clearly they want to grow in Italy, they want to grow in Belgium, they want to grow in Netherlands, they want to grow in Germany. You know, they want to grow in these places. Got to fly. Bang, got him. So yeah, clearly they want to grow in these places. So, but the Saudi deal is obviously taking up a lot of their time at the moment. Days, with the first half of the year over, is it better than the first half of 2025? Could we start taking notes from the World Cup on how to create cinema? Yeah, I do think this is better than the first half of 2025. I think, though, you could maybe make the argument that we haven't had a moment this year as big as John turning heel. So I think the John turning heel in early 2025 is the big moment. If you was to, like, you know, look at the both 6 months and try and find the biggest moment, I think that would be that. Outside of that, yeah, I think that the vision fell flat. I think WrestleMania was flat, certainly night 2. We had a flat night 1 this year, in all fairness. But I do see some green shoots right now. I do feel a little more positive about where we are at the moment. I was kind of making that case the other day. I think what we've done post-Mania has been about as good as anything we've done this year. I think what we've done post-Mania has been solid. That's the word I'll use. Solid. I didn't feel that way last year. I think the build last year was criticised. I think the build this year was criticised. I think the lowest points were this year, but I think the average... It'd be really good to compare those cage match scores. Keep saying it. I do really need to do that as a piece of work. Maybe I'll get time to do that tomorrow. And then, because it'd be good to have some numbers. But if I had a gun to my head right now and someone was like, is the first 6 months of this year better than the first 6 months of last year? My answer would be yes. My answer would be yes. And I'm largely basing that on post-Mania, Mania Night 2, Day 2 not being as bad as last year's Day 2. I think Day 2 is more important than Day 1. I think we got Day 2 better this year. I think, you know, Roman CM Punk really delivered. I think that's one of the most important matches of the year. Not the best, but one of the most important. And I also think, what we've done with AAA has been a blessing in disguise, because we can also point to Mask versus Mask and how incredible that has been as well. So I think AAA has definitely contributed to that. I think as well, Drew having a run with the title was well received right at the beginning of the year. We did the 3 stages of hell this year. And I think that Drew having that little run was well received. Granted, people didn't like it when he dropped it back. So, I mean, this is not a perfect year. This is not a year that I would be, saying is a classic or anything like that. But I do think it's a better year. I do think there is improvements. If last year was a 4, this is a 5.5 or something like that, right? I think that there are improvements, but this is not a 7 or an 8 or anything like that. We could be doing a lot better than what we've done this year. But hopefully we're doing that. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that was last year, that this is this year. Hopefully that's next year. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully we're seeing an upwards trajectory. I mean, clearly we're not going to do that. And we haven't done that. Perhaps it's just a gradual climb back to the good times. So, yeah, I would say it was better personally. Robbie said, I think Santana will be in NXT about as long as Joe Hendry. Maybe shorter. Joe was there like November, December to April. Yeah, I don't hate that, to be honest. I don't hate that. I don't mind people going to NXT, even for a short burst. I think it's good. I think it's beneficial. I think, like, fans can get used to these people. So it's not like, who's this? When Royce Keane came out and it was just crickets. There's at least a few fans that can get used to them when they're in NXT. I think it's good for NXT because it gives them a moment. When a person gets called up, you get another moment. As well as that, they can work with Sean, work with the Performance Center team. Get their feet under the table, even if it is for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Fine, yeah. I would put everyone, honestly. I see the way I see NXT is it's the reception area. That's how I see it. This is like welcome to WWE. Let's work down a checklist and make sure that we've got everything. Like, are you settled in your house? Is your living arrangements all good? Have you got someone set up to help you with your English? Tick, tick. Okay, let's have a look at your graphics presentation. Let's have a look at your music. Name. What's your name going to be? Is it copyrighted? Do we need any trademarks? Tick, tick, tick. Ring gear. What does that look like? Let's walk through the whole presentation, yeah? What's the vibe we're going for? What vignettes do we need? Let's have a look at your promos, right? Do that backstage, few promo classes. Put them in the ring, few promo exchanges, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Let's do some matches. Let's have a look, see how how you're working. Okay, we need to tweak this. We need to tweak that. Blah, blah, blah. Some of it you'll be able to just blast down and, do you know what I mean? A couple of months, 3 months. Great. Welcome to WWE. Let's go. Ready for the main roster now. You're all up to speeds. And I just see it like that. I mean, I don't see NXT as, like, only teaching people how to wrestle and that's it. I think it can be a little bit of a, right, let's grab a checklist. Let's have a look at all this, make sure. Like, do you know what I mean? If you buy a new car, just checking over everything and having a little look and making sure everything's like all good. You're sort of doing that with the wrestlers' promos, matches, presentation, making sure their personal arrangements are sorted. Knowing the expectations, any tweaks to work in a WWE style, tick, 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 tick. Great. It's just a reception. It's just you're here for a little bit. You're going to help NXT for a little bit, but also it's going to help you get settled. And it's also going to give the main roster time to actually get ready for your arrival, get the creative in place, get you factored into the plans. So, yeah, no, I'm not against it. I think we've said it a lot of times. Pat said, similar to seeing a baseball player in AA or a soccer player or F1 driver on a junior team goes to a legendary career. Yeah, like starting out and working your way through. if Cody wins on Monday, I'm going to be done watching weekly, said Robbie. I'm going to cancel my VPN subscription. I'm that close to being done, says Robbie. I'm in the States and I just spent time with my family and my extended family, said Reese, getting ready for this AAA stream. Happy 4th of July to everyone. You were supposed to jump in the pool, says Metal Mama. You were supposed to jump in the pool. I don't even remember that, to be honest. When was that? Was that when we were in? Was that when I was in Florida? Maybe. I think, was it 2018 I did a load of pool stuff. I think I'm choking because I just sprayed that raid and it's getting to me now. Yeah, it was that port. Yeah, maybe I was. I can't remember. No, I was gonna. No, in Egypt, I was gonna do it. Yeah, in Egypt, I think I said I was gonna do it, wasn't I? Yeah, it was cold, man. I just found a way out of it. It was middle of the night when we were streaming, so obviously the water was cooling down. So I was like, I'll find a way out of this, and I did. Daze has seen more of the US than me, and I was born here, said Robbie. Well, to be honest, I've only really seen Florida. I've seen quite a fair bit of Florida. I've been to the Florida Keys, I've been to Miami, I've been to Tampa. I've never been to Jacksonville, but I've done a fair bit of Florida. I could easily live in Florida, easily. I'm so comfortable there. I really do enjoy it. So, yeah, very cool. But I don't know. I love the England as well. I love the UK as well. It's got its own charm. It doesn't have the great weather, but actually the summers are really not bad over here. So, but the weather's just all round really in Florida, Although you do have to worry about storms, really bad storms, hurricanes and stuff like that. We don't really ever get anything like that over here. Dean said, I just want them to change Cody's character. I want him to be more dark. Okay. Yeah, have a bit of an edge. Yeah, you're not alone in saying that. Abram said, who's going to be wrestling tonight? Yeah, card-wise, it's not mind-blowing. I think what we do have, though, is Flammer in action, which I'm looking forward to. I do enjoy her work. So, unfortunately, it's not against like a Bailey or anything like that. It's against Lady Shani. So, don't know. I'm hoping it's going to be a really fun match. El Fiscal taking on Abismo Negro Jr. Again, not sure about that. Don't really know them as performers. I think I might have seen them once or twice before. But, it should be a fine watch. Then we've got a 6-person tag. We've got Mr. Iguana, Parka, Amico Drago taking on Money Machine. So, again, that's going to be bodies flying everywhere. Lots of fun. So, for me, the big appeal is definitely the Flammer match. And then the other thing is, are we going to find out who this former world champion is that's coming in to AAA? Because there is a lot of chatter about some former world champ that's meant to be coming in. So, I'm quite excited to get some progress on that, because obviously that could be a lot of fun. And we might even hear from the new group as well. That obviously showed up. Was it last week they showed? Or the week before? With Carmen Petrovic? So we might get a bit of progress on that as well. So, I mean, the great thing about AAA is the matches are going to be fun. You know that you're going to have a good time. You know that it's only an hour, so it ain't going to outstay its welcome. And so that's why I like tuning in. It's just never a problem. It doesn't even really matter what the card looks like. You just know it's going to be worth watching and you're going to have a good time. So I'm very grateful for the fact that it's here if ever we need it, And, the big shows are really special. That's where it really gets going. So we've got a AAA show coming up, big PLE coming up, 25th, I believe it was mentioned earlier. Do we think Las Toxicas could appear on Raw, SmackDown, NXT? Not sure about Raw SmackDown. I mean, it's not impossible because you would have a main roster star like Bayley go to AAA, get into a thing with them. That then means they can come to cause Bayley problems. So it's not impossible. But I think like La Toxicus probably fit a bit better kind of going at the NXT level. There's no doubt in my mind AAA sits at the NXT level. More so than the main roster level. So I can see the crossover a bit more there. But yeah, not impossible. Not impossible. We've seen Mr. Iguana popping up, for example. I think he's a little special, though, a little bit unique. He's obviously a very fun character. We've kind of got Danhausen now, so you could make the argument that we don't need Mr. Iguana as much on Raw and SmackDown because we've got Danhausen sort of ticking a similar box. But yeah, I could see them coming over, certainly to NXT, but not impossible for Raw and SmackDown if Flammer was to, start getting into it with someone. And then that meant that they could come over. I think you will absolutely see them when we go to Mexico. Raw and SmackDown soon will be heading to Mexico. So I think you could absolutely see AAA stars popping up on those shows. A lot of credit goes to my time in the Navy, says Pat, but I have lived at least 6 months to 2+ years in Florida, Washington, California, Virginia. I grew up in New York, and I've lived in Queens, Long Island, and upstate, says Pat. That's awesome, Pat. That's awesome. Honestly, I mean, part of me wishes that I'd got into service because I sort of feel like with life, you spend a lot of your life trying to find your place, trying to find who you are and what you are about, what am I here for? Because, I mean, like at school, I did okay, but nothing special. I ain't getting into top universities or anything like that. I don't think there's like really high paying positions that are waiting for me. So I did okay, but I didn't know. The bigger problem was I didn't know what I wanted to be when I left school. And so, I kind of drifted for a bit, ended up going into retail, which I would imagine is what happens to a lot of people, to be honest, when you don't really know what you're going to do with your life. You end up going into retail. And to be honest, I did love that. I mean, if I was to live my life again, it would be very difficult for me to not choose going that way again, because I really had a great time. So that I don't really have regrets, but I do often think if I went into like, the military at a young age, it would have really, all those worries about like, who am I, what am I meant to be, that all goes out the window. You're part of a bigger thing, aren't you? You're serving and you're working as part of a team. And, I think, like, as you said, you get to see the world. I mean, you've seen all over America, and I bet you've got some great memories. So, yeah, it's just, I do look at that and I'm like, man, that would be an option. If I left school and just went straight into, plus also, like, it teaches you discipline. And, do you know what I mean? I think that would have been, not that I was ever off the rails or anything, but I don't know. I think a lot of life's headaches get taken out of your hands if you do that. And you just, do you know what I mean? You go to bed at this time, you get up at this time, you got to keep yourself smart. And I think there's something really positive about that, because the alternative is just being lost and not really knowing what you're meant to be doing. And, is this right? Is this wrong? But I suppose we shouldn't really complain about having freedom. So that's the downside of freedom, isn't it? Sometimes you're not sure what the flipping right thing to do is because you've got all these options, but we can't sit here and complain about having it. I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, cool. Pat, shout out to you, my friends. Daze, do we think that Cody could work without a world title? 100%. Or do we have confidence that the creative team don't know how to book him? Well, no. I mean, he didn't have the belt for 2 years, did he? He arrived at WrestleMania 38. He didn't win it till 40. The only difference there is that he was trying to finish the story, and I think that was always something people felt connected to. He doesn't really have that now, so I mean, it would be an extra challenge now to not have that around. But no, he can absolutely work without the title. I mean, he is he's a great superstar. I mean, he is a great superstar. He is someone that has lived a life of being a professional wrestler. I think he is a very good in-ring performer. I think promo-wise, I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. I think a lot of us, and maybe myself included, sort of want him to be someone that he's not really. I think he's a very nice person. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he's a very honest person. You know, what do you want to talk about? You know, he's just a good guy. And I think we kind of want him to have these killer lines, and we want him to maybe have a bit of an edge and all that stuff. And I think that is difficult because I don't think that's him. I think he is that white meat babyface. I totally believe that he is that, meeting the kids, having a picture with everyone, turning up early, doing media, VIP sessions, going to the local store to do meet and greets, sharp suits, grabbing a coffee, doing, like, you know, interviews, but just being this nice person. You know, I feel like he's just a nice guy, genuinely. And I think, like, they've presented him that way as well. I believe that is who he is. But I think this is where he probably needs some creative support if we are to deviate away from that. Give him an edge, kill shot lines, all that kind of stuff. He can get fiery. Of course, you've got to be able to get fiery as a wrestler. So, you know, he can deliver a promo with some energy. And we've seen him do that. But I think if you want him to be anything beyond that, then you need creative. And you need creative support. And I don't even know if they're good enough. I don't know. That's where it might become a problem if we need to deviate from that. But if you can find stories for him to just be him and, like, you know, go up against heels. The problem we've got is the heels. We just don't have great heels. We don't have loads of heels that come out that get booed out the building. You know, and we've had this conversation many times about how Cody isn't always the most attractive option of the two options available. You know, you might look at him and CM Punk. If they're going to do a program between him and CM Punk, it's going to divide opinion. You're going to have a load of people supporting Punk and a load of people saying they're down on Cody. And yeah, because you're making people choose. And for a lot of people, CM Punk is going to be the more attractive option. I mean, I don't really understand the CM Punk feud, if I'm being honest with you. I don't understand it. I don't know why we would do it unless Punk comes back as a heel. But even then, Punk is going to be so charismatic. There's no one better on the microphone than CM Punk. I think CM Punk realistically has got an attitude, is difficult to work with at times, is someone that, you know, you could believe is a bit spiky. So he can reflect that easily because it's him. So, but the thing is, he's so charismatic, so good, so witty, such an amazing performer in ring as well, that, like, people are going to side with him. People are going to find him more interesting, more entertaining. And that's tricky, man. I think that feud's going to be tricky. It was, again, you know, Drew, a lot of people just felt sorry for him. So, like, you know, there was a lot of people like, yeah, Drew's right. He has been overlooked. He has been underutilized. So, I mean, when he was going around saying that Cody was the golden boy and everything's come really easily for him, there was a lot of people that were like, yeah, that's true. What we don't have is a load of Gunthers. We don't have a load of people like Logan and Gunther that the crowd just boo out the building and Cody is the more attractive option. So I think that's the challenge for me. If there was all these hated heels that Cody could go off and battle and be the more attractive option, I would be very confident that he'd be fine away from the title. I can't have as much confidence because we don't have loads of those sort of wrestlers. So I think this is where, yes, you are going to have to rely on creative, and certainly the SmackDown creative, I think, are going to have their challenges. But this is not why you keep him around the title, because you're worried that if he's not around the title, it's going to be difficult to book him. You keep him around the title because he's one of your top performers. He's one of your top baby faces, is, you know, merch-wise, numbers-wise. I mean, we've looked at Google Trends. He's right there with CM Punk. You know, it's not like there's no great mystery when you look at Google Trends as to why are they behind Cody? Like LA Knight is well ahead of him. You know, all these people are well ahead of him. No, Cody is absolutely in that top list of names. He's not Roman level. Roman is clear, right? Roman is absolutely clear. Roman clears everyone, right? I mean, if anyone wants to have a conversation of who's bigger, Roman or Cody, there's no point, right? It's Roman all day, every day, twice on a Sunday. But when you look at the other decent names like a Seth, like a CM Punk, those kind of people that you would say are top talent, Cody's numbers are right there as well. So that pool of people, this is where, though, the conversation is, you know, yes, but their numbers are only there because they're always being put in those top positions. That's the counter argument to that argument. And that's a fair argument, to be honest. The only thing I would say is that's the challenge. If you're someone coming through, you have got to maximize your minutes. You have got to, you know, get attention, and you have got to find a way of not being at the top of the cards and get numbers that are close, comparable. You need to prove that you are worthy of them taking that chance on you. I believe Jay did that, and I believe Jay was rewarded with a world title run. I believe Oba is doing that, and I believe Oba is going to be rewarded, of course, with a world title run. So, I mean, it is possible to do. It's not impossible. I think the enigma, if you will, is LA Knight, because I think LA Knight is doing that, but they haven't rewarded him yet. So I think that is obviously the one that people will look at and go, well, if that's true, they would have pulled the trigger on LA Knight. And I agree that that is one that's like a little bit of a head scratcher. The only thing I would say is I think LA Knight at his age is someone that doesn't have like a long future. You know, Oba's like 28. I think LA Knight's like 42 or something. So WWE, I genuinely do not think ever looked at LA Knight as being in that position. It's the fans that have put LA Knight in that position. And yes, I do think there is reluctance from WWE to pull that trigger, because I think they're looking at someone that's got a limited shelf life. If LA Knight was 32, I think we'd be having a very different conversation. I do. Because I think they'd be looking at someone that's got over 10 years, 13 years in, you know, of investment that they can do something with. I think they're sort of looking at him now really at the tail end of his career, thinking we need new stars. You know, one of our problems is that we're going to lose Cody in the next 5 years. We're going to lose CM Punk. We're probably going to lose Roman. We're probably going to lose Seth. Like, who are we going to turn to be that next wave, to be those next stars? I don't think you can say LA Knight, because he's in the exact same boat, age-wise, as those names I've just mentioned. So it has to be a factor. It has to be a factor. So, you know, this is why Oba and Braun and Trick and, you know, those kinds of names are the names that they are interested in. Those are the names that I think they would love to see kind of taking some of those main roster spots over the next few years. So lots to dissect there. But yeah, I don't think there's any concerns about Cody outside of championship. But yes, he probably would need a bit of creative support. I'd feel more confident if he was on Raw, and maybe that's the fix. Put him on Raw and have that great Raw team booking him, rather than him being on SmackDown and having that SmackDown team booking him. Christopher said, Daze, WWE have just dropped the ball with Finn Balor. He needs to be a top WWE superstar in top contender matches. It's been 10 years since he had that Universal Championship for one night and had to drop it because of injury. He's paid his dues, said Christopher. Well, I think Finn Balor is a bit of a head scratcher. The only thing I can think is that, you know how we said you've got to get those numbers that rival the main roster stars numbers to show I'm worth investing in. The only thing I can think is that he was never able to achieve that, right? Following 2016. He had his injury, he came back. Maybe he just got a little lost in the shuffle. Perhaps the creative wasn't right. We hit the pandemic. You've got Judgment Day. Perhaps, you know, if we'd have booked him better and given him the opportunity, perhaps he could have repaid. And it's a really good argument. I mean, there's not really a counter argument to that counter argument, which is you're only going to get the numbers if you put them in the positions, if you give them the ball, and if you don't give Finn Balor the opportunity, he's never going to deliver the numbers. And yeah, there is no real argument back to that. But someone somewhere has to make that decision, don't they? Someone somewhere has to look at the landscape and look at the options and figure out what they think is the right people to be investing in at that time and using the data that they've got. And I don't really subscribe. I think I am a little bit different to other people. I don't subscribe to a lot of the pettiness that I see. I don't believe that Triple H hates this person, hates that person, he's holding them down, blah, blah, blah. I don't subscribe to those things. I think it's a bit more analytical than that. I think it's more numbers-based than that. I think that age comes into it. I think Google searches come into it. I think merch sales come into it. I think that there's creative stories and plans in place and directions that we're going that we want to commit to. And if someone gets hot, well, they're going to have to wait because we've got our plan for 3 months. We're going to do this. Let's see where we are after that. If they've cooled by the time we get round to them, well, you know, there wasn't much we could do because we already had a plan in place. And I think there's things like that happen. Because WWE don't book each show each week without knowing where they're going. You know, they've long had SummerSlam planned. I mean, they'll even have some WrestleMania matches for next year penciled. They'll have an idea as to kind of what they want the top end to look like. It won't be fleshed out. They won't have the cards, and it certainly won't be in pen. But, you know, they'll have a rough idea, which means they'll have a rough idea for who is going to win Royal Rumble to set up those matches. And certainly they know SummerSlam, of course they do. And coming out of SummerSlam, I don't know where we would be with Survivor Series at this stage, but I wouldn't be shocked if they've got some stuff penciled for that as well. I mean, they know where we're heading. If someone just gets hot, you can't just go, oh, I'm changing this around and I'm going to go there instead now, because that changes all the sort of plans that you've got in place. And it's a little bit too reactionary. So hopefully if someone gets hot, they're still going to be hot in like 3 months' time. And again, this comes back to an LA Knight point of, well, why didn't we capitalize on him? And my only kind of conclusion I can reach is that they just struggled with his age. He was never meant to be kind of used in that position. And they just wanted to see if it was going to be sustained or if it was just a flash in the pan. That would be my interpretation of it. I certainly don't think that Triple H hates him or anything like that. I think that's... I think this is a multi-billion-dollar business. The one thing, if I was Triple H, I would want is stars getting over that I can capitalize on that make me look good. Do you know what I mean? If loads of wrestlers get themselves over and I can capitalize on it, and it's going to make my ratings better, I'm going to sell more merch, my bosses are going to think I'm amazing. Why would I discourage that? Why would that be a problem? To me, that's that's, do you know what I mean? If I'm going to bed at night, I'm going to bed worrying about ratings. I'm going to bed worrying about what my bosses think. I mean, those are my worries. If I'm Triple H, those are my concerns. Shifting tickets, getting people to come to the shows, getting people to tune into the shows. This is my job. This is my number one priority. Tickets, views, buzz. Isn't it the 3 R's? Ratings, relevancy, and revenue. Those are Nick Khan's 3 R's. He said that in an interview. You know he has said that to Triple H. And I fully sign up to that. Completely agree. Because that is my mindset as well. My mindset is, got to get TV ratings because we want a good TV deal in the future. Got to get revenue, which is merch and ticket sales. So the business needs to be driven in there. And yeah, relevancy. You know, you want views online, likes, engagement, all of that. Those are the things you care about. This is why when people say, oh, he hates this person, he hates that person, he's holding them back, you just think, I just don't buy that. I just do not buy that. If I'm going to bed, I ain't going to bed going, oh, you know, I hate LA Knight. I'm going to bed thinking ratings, relevancy, you know, revenue. Those are what I get, man. Those are what I get judged on. Those are the things I have to go into a meeting and talk about. So to me, like, oh, he hates the Street Profits. He's not using the blah, 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 blah. I just think all of that stuff is very childish. And I just really don't believe in that notion. I don't buy that. I think it's bigger than that. It's a business level kind of big drivers of billion-dollar businesses, you know, that Triple H is focused on. And he's going to use the people that he thinks is going to deliver him the best results. And as I said, LA Knight has got hot. He hasn't got hot to the point where he's hotter, looking at like Google Trends and, you know, merch sales. He's not hotter than other options, but he has got himself into the mix. And I think that if you're Triple H, you absolutely could pull the trigger and put a world title on him. You definitely could. But Triple H has looked at other options and had a little look at like Damian Priest, which might help in Puerto Rico, might help with Latin America. He's pulled the trigger on Jay because Jay's numbers were really, really good. So, you know, he's had a look at Jay. I don't know why we've done the Sammy thing. I feel like it's just a short-term thing. I don't feel like it doesn't really fit the metric, to be honest. I don't think Sammy's numbers are going to be that great. So this is why he feels like a transitional champion. So, I mean, he could be losing that belt as of Monday. He might have 48 hours with it. I don't know. But I don't know. Does LA Knight's time come around eventually? Or is it that his age is the barrier? Is it his age? I don't know. How old is he now? Is he 42 now? 43? 43. He turned 43 last November. So in 4 months' time, he'll be 44. To be honest, I mean, I think if you're going to put a belt on him, you're doing it for him and for his fans. I don't think you're really doing it for the long-term business. I think you're doing it as a thank you for, you know, how hard he has worked and the fans that wanted to see him become champion. And I suppose with that mentality, you can sort of do it at any time, can't you? You can, so if you're not going to do it because you see him being a multiple time champion because of his age, and I can only imagine it's the age thing, then you can always put a belt on him as a bit of a thank you, I suppose, like they've done with Sammy, at any time, and he can reach that mountaintop, you know. So it's, you don't know if that's not part of the logic. The logic might be, yeah, we'll put the belt on him, but we're going to make a big deal out of it. He's, you know what I mean? The boyhood dream's going to come true for him. And we're doing it for him and his fans more so than for the future of the business. And whilst we're sort of teasing that, kicking that can down the road, making people want it more, whatever. We'll continue to work on Bron Breakker. We'll continue to work on Jacob. We'll continue to work on Gunther. We'll continue to work on, this younger emerging talent like Oba and Trick and Javon and Ethan and all of those names. So I think it's some in that, honestly. I really do. Rapture said, I think WWE has had a hard time pivoting when they have only one thing set in stone. They should be using the unused talent when waiting someone to return for injury, as opposed to just waiting, says Rapturous. Pat said, would it hurt to hopscotch the title to a few different transitional champs and test the waters? Well, that's a really interesting thought, actually, to be honest, because I suppose the answer to that is no. I think to just test the waters a little bit and see how the crowd reacts. No, I don't think that would be a bad thing. I suppose the challenge and the struggle I've got is I've always viewed the WWE Championship as being the championship. And I gotta be honest with you, if I was booking WWE, I would not have given Sammy this belt. I think WWE have this year in particular sort of made more of an effort to make the two belts feel equal. And I really would, be able to give a healthy list of examples as to why the two world titles did not feel equal before 2026, right? The one was closing WrestleMania, the other was opening WrestleMania. The one was on like Roman and Brock, the other was being put onto Jay, Damian Priest, and, it was going on to, other people. It's only now that the World Heavyweight Championship has main evented night 2. And the fact that we've put the WWE Championship onto Sammy, that to me, this feels like there's more of an effort to make these two world titles feel equal. But I just can't help but look at that WWE Championship and for it to feel like it's the more important belt. So, yeah, that's a me problem, though, to be honest with you. That's, not something WWE are clearly worried about or thinking about. So it doesn't feel like we're going to be passing the World Heavyweight title around much at the moment. Whatever we're doing with Roman, I feel like WrestleMania for him next year is going to be huge. So I feel like he's probably going to be keeping the championship. I think Roman goes into that match with Seth as firm favourite, right, to retain. So I don't see that World Heavyweight Championship being passed around. So that means we'll have to do it with the WWE Championship, like we've just done with Sammy. That's where I would struggle to do it because of what I've said. But actually, I think the point you make is a good point. Perhaps let's have a look at a few people. Let's see what the numbers look like. I do think we're in a period right now because of the failure of last year. I think we're in a period right now where we are very focused on the now. I get the sense that we are really looking at trying to deliver the best numbers we can. I think there's been a bit of panic. I think there's been a bit of a siren that's gone off at WWE headquarters. I mean, all of a sudden, there's a lot of bad press for TKO. The increased ticket prices have got a lot of bad press. The show quality and the concerns around that has been well documented. The kind of concerns from ESPN have been well documented as well. I would imagine any conversations with Netflix have probably not resulted in Netflix absolutely loving the numbers. I mean, the numbers that Raw is generating don't appear to be numbers that you would love. They're maybe okay, but I don't know that it's like, oh my God, yeah, this is so amazing. And aren't they with Netflix for like 5 years? And then there's an opportunity to extend for another 5. So, WWE have tried some stuff last year to see, who was going to be those next stars, who can they bring through. A lot of those attempts failed. And I just get the sense that right now there's a bit of okay, we can't keep doing that. We've kind of hurt the ratings a little bit. We've hurt the the connection with the fan base. You know, there's lots of people that have said, I'm sort of done with wrestling at the moment. We need to sort of tighten things back up again. We need to go through a period where we just put on a really good product and, you know, we kind of get some enthusiasm back. We've got to try and find a better balance than trying to bring through Braun and Bronson with the vision, trying to bring through Jade, trying to bring, you know, get more out of Tiffany. You know, Tiffany ran out of steam. We just kept going with that for too long. We put belt on Julia really quickly. We put the belt on Stephanie quite quickly. You know, we really did try, I would say, quite hard last year at getting over emerging talent. Don't know if it felt that way at the time to many people, but on reflection, I'd say that we went quite hard, and I don't think it worked. And I think that WWE are not in a stronger place as a result. I think they spun their wheels for a bit there. So now we're trying to tighten things up. So I think actually right now we're trying our best to get, you know, the best rating we can, to get the best momentum we can, to put on the best. I mean, look at the cards we've had for the PLEs. Stacked, really good. I think the PLE cards for Italy, Night of Champions, were pretty good. We know that like Tiffany Jade's was not, you know, but we know that was a replacement for a Rhea match. So if Rhea had been defending against, say, Alexa Bliss, I think people would have felt better for the Night of Champions cards. But we know Rhea's injury meant we had to go with Tiffany and Jade instead, which maybe just brought that down a touch. But, you know, cage match, triple threat for the title, King of the Ring final, Queen of the Ring final. It's pretty stacked. And people were even happier with Clash in Italy. They thought that was like a mini WrestleMania. I think SummerSlam's shaping up to be really good. So I look at the cards right now, and they feel stronger. I look at the champions right now; they feel more experienced. I look at the fact we've gone back to the bloodline, and so you kind of look at that, and the fact we broke up the MFTs, the fact we broke up the Vision, or seemingly broke up the Vision. I mean, it definitely feels like we're really trying to make this as good as we can at the moment, right? Without taking chances, really, just going back to tried and tested. So should we go through a period where we just try a few world champs to see if anyone catches fire? Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it, because I think like you might try and you might fail, but the rest of the shows are pretty solid at the moment. So I think we can accommodate trying that. And you've only got to have someone work, someone catch fire, and for then, you know, you to have an exciting future laid out for you with, like, you know, all the potential options of what you can do with that person. So, yeah, I really don't think it's a bad shout, but I don't think it's a bad shout at all. Frankie, shout out to you. I hope you're well. Michael said, is it bad that the Vision couldn't remain healthy for last year? Full Vision with Rollins could have dominated. Not Bron Breakker. He's a B-card talent. It's a shame. Yeah, I think that there's obviously reasons as to why that group didn't work. I think we can say, though, that it didn't feel like it had clicked even when Seth was in the group. But, you know, maybe it needed just a little more time. So I certainly wouldn't want to sit here and say it was never going to work, right? I wouldn't want to be saying that. Because maybe it could have worked. As you said, injuries definitely destroyed that group. So maybe it could have worked. But I think we can sit here and say that it didn't work and it hadn't been working. So I'll certainly not be sad to see us move away from it if that is what we're doing. Big shout out to everyone that's joining us. It's nice to be here on a Saturday night doing something. Obviously, chatting wrestling is always fun, but yeah, we're here for a little bit of AAA action. It'll only be on for about an hour, and it's always worth a watch. We'll see what AAA have got for us this week. Should be starting very soon. Oh no. Da 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 ba da ba da 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 da. About 30 seconds. Happy 4th of July, says Metal Mama. How American is it that we're celebrating the 4th by watching a UK streamer react to Mexican Lucha Libre with fans all over the world? I think it's very American because America represents freedom. Freedom of choice. So the fact that you get to choose to do that is very American. So Metal Mama, shout out to you. I hope you had a good day. Benito said, is it possible to make a wrestling escape pod episode with William public? For some reason, it's not public. I'm not the man to ask. It's Triple T that you need to ask. He's the one that sort of runs that channel, runs the video calling software. Whenever we have a guest coming on, I never know that they're coming on. I never even know who's about to pop up on screen before they pop up. So it's Triple T that you need to ask on that. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, Dr. Pina. Daze, I heard your people have enjoyed USA and our lovely food items. Yeah, I think the world has. I mean, we know America is a fantastic place to visit. I've always spoken very highly of my time whenever I've gone to Florida. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of people that maybe have never been to America before, but have gone because of the World Cup. And unsurprisingly to me, had a fantastic time. I think the World Cup's been fantastic. I think it's been fantastic, not just for the world, but for America as well, you know. Here's Ray. Okay, Ray is coming down. We're going to be starting with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio making his way down to the ring. So if he is going to be making an announcement, it might be right now. Rey Mysterio, the general manager. This is good, actually, because it was a little bit sketchy as to whether we were going to be getting this announcement or not, or even if we were, how it was going to be getting delivered. But with him making his way down to the ring right now, here we go, stepping into the ring. It feels like it could be now. He looks good, man. He's got a shirt on, a little bit open, some white slacks. Okay, Rey Mysterio then in the ring. Mysterio. For generations, Lucha Libre AAA has been the place for the biggest stars in Latin wrestling. Today, our vision is bigger than ever. I want this house to be for the biggest stars in the world. He's bigging this up, mate. He's really bigging this up. I want this to be for the biggest stars. And as general manager, it's such an honor for me to introduce to you. Here we go. One of the biggest Latinos in the world. Who's he bringing out? I'm really confused. A Latino recognized. Are we bringing out Shakira? It's not Shakira. She was never a former WWE World Champion, in all fairness. Damian Priest. Damian Priest gets his intro. Well, I was close. I was close. I thought it was Shakira. I mean, Damian's hips don't lie. Damian's hips don't lie. I thought he said she at one point. How do we feel about this? Is this a big deal? They're making out it's a massive deal, but is it a big deal? I've only just realised how much I don't like his music. All rise for the bad guy. Well, here we go. Damian has come down, so I don't really get it. I mean, he's obviously still going to be on the main roster because he's got the tag titles with R-Truth. So it looks like he's going to be doing a bit of double duty maybe for a while, like Penta does and Rey Fenix does. I would have been way more excited if it was Shakira. Consider the game changed. Although, to be honest, tuning in on a Saturday to watch, like, Damian go in there and compete with, you know, some of these stars could be pretty good. And this could be pretty good for him. I mean, look what AAA did for Chad Gable and for Ludwig. I mean, perhaps it can do that for Damian. Let's get your scores in, shall we? Damian's partner's Lola Vice, right? Yeah. Lola's AAA and NXT. I think he might be doing it for more her than himself, but that's just my opinion, said Christopher. Some of you don't know me. Perhaps some of you don't know me, says Damian. I am a 5-time tag team champion. I am a former United States champion. I am a former world champion. I am Damian Priest. That world title run is very forgettable, though. The cash-in's a big deal. I've wrestled on the biggest stages. I suppose star power-wise is the biggest they're going to have. I've wrestled everywhere, but I haven't done it here in AAA. Over time, I've heard about the history. I didn't mind his world title run, to be honest, said Alex. As long as the crowd likes it, that's all that matters, said Robbie. It's weird, given the history between Priest and Rey, to hear Rey talk him up, said Jennifer. In fairness, Daze, said Chocolate, we all would have liked to have seen Shakira. That would have been sick. Certainly if Flammer had come down and slapped around the face. Then we could have had Lola Vice versus Flammer with Shakira in Lola's corner. I mean, that's better, isn't it? Come on. No one's going to tell me that's not better. All rise. All right. He tells them all to rise, and they do. All rise. Because El Campeon has arrived, says Damian. Well, there's a pleasant reaction. It's not bad. What a moment for AAA. They'll be talking about this for years, says JBL. JBL really laying it on here. JBL in no doubt. This is a massive deal. Okay, so there we go. We got our announcement. There's Mr. Iguana. There's the Parka. There's Flammer. She's struggling to get off the back of that truck. Okay, we are going... I don't know where we're going. I'm trying to read what's on that thing. Oh, Lady Shama. Oh, so that means we're doing the women first. Oh, this is the match I was most excited for. And we're starting with it. So, that says Lady Flammer. No, Lady Shama or whatever. Lady... I don't like her music. Lady Shani. I've seen her once, I think, last week. She looks like something out of Mortal Kombat. Lady Shani. Ba-bum. Yeah, this is the first time I saw her last week when she came racing down here in her pajamas. Oh, apparently she's not been around for a few months. Well, I don't feel wildly confident for her, to be honest. Her music sucks. Really sucks. It's just... very flat. It's just kind of like playing out in the background. Sounds like loading screen music for some sort of game back on the PS1. Okay, Lady Flammer then making her way down. Big Mig said, with Priest in AAA, Mr. Iguana better run and hide, said Big Migs. Big Migs, hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good day, buds. Ray jumps on commentary. He said he emailed JBL about this announcement last week, and JBL's like, must have gone in spam. Must have gone straight into my spam folder. Okay, Flammer, I really do enjoy watching her work. Her match with Bailey was so much fun. I don't know this Lady Shani, but could be good. Mm-hmm. Big opportunity for Lady Shani to impress the fans and the general manager. Flammer just telling the crowd to settle down. Lady Shani circling round at the moment. And they lock up. Nice. Arm drag there by Lady Shani, straight out of the gate. So we're underway with match number 1. Flammer again looking to lock up. Nice, goes round the back. Good work. Lady Shani. Oh, wow. That was a lovely takeover. Really nice takeover by Lady Shani. Had a nice bit of snap to it, that did, actually. Looked really good. Both going against the ropes. Thought they were going for a crisscross. Oh, Lady Shani off the ropes. She didn't get tripped over there. She kicks out instead at Flammer. Lady Shani gets the ropes. Rolls. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a alligator roll. Nice takeover. She's all right here, you know, this lady Shani. She's all right. She's got something about her. Okay, she manages to take Flammer down. Little bit of posing away there by Lady Shani. Okay, round the back, grabs the leg. Flammer goes down. Lady Shani, I don't know if she was going for an ankle lock or something, but Flammer gets to the ropes. Couple of kicks coming in there by Flammer. Lady Shani goes down. Flammer straight over. Yeah, she needs to stay on her, really. Get a few shots in whilst they're down. If you've got your opponent down, capitalize on it. There's a big chop that comes in there by Flammer. Flammer. Did she just kick her in the vagina or did she kick her in the thigh? I'm not sure. She just had Lady Shani in the corner. She picked her leg up, put it on the rope, and then she booted. But I couldn't tell where it landed. I mean, to be honest, both are going to be moody. But, I mean, you'd much rather get kicked in the thigh than in the lady garden. She is trying to pull at the mask. Oh! I think there is a little bit... There might be, like, a little bit of elastic underneath. So she was pulling, but... there might be something that just keeps it there. I couldn't quite see. Either way, she didn't succeed. AB said, this is Cake City. New York is cooking inside and out tonight. Okay, Flammer grabbing the hair there of Lady Shani, and down she goes. Flammer coming back into this now. Flammer posing away. We would have gone to commercial by now if this was Raw or SmackDown. Definitely. Right now, she's got Lady Shani over against the ropes. She's trying to use the ropes to choke her. Referee was counting away. She kicks her over in the corner, starts stomping down on Lady Shani in the corner. Flammer with a shot. Charging over, collides into Lady Shani in the corner. Crowd a bit quiet for this at the moment. It's not really grabbing people. Perhaps when Lady Shani starts making a bit of a comeback, it'll start kind of getting them. At the moment, it is the heel that's in control. Kicks coming into the heads. Lady Shani takes her over. Kick coming into the back there by Flammer. Posing away. Getting some boos from the crowd. Going back over to Lady Shani. Goes for a cover. 1, 2. Kick out. Lady Shani showing a few little bits. I really like the snap that she's got with her takedowns. But we haven't seen a little anything out of her in a few moments. Right now, we've got Flammer. She's got Lady Shani on her shoulders. Nice. She's turned it into a sleeper holds. Flammer drives her back to the corner, though. Little bit of a glimpse there of Lady Shani trying to come back. We got some shots coming in. Oh, no, it isn't the lady guy. Oh, my God. Corey Graves said it was the hamstring. I think it was the G-string. Oh, Flammer goes into the corner. To be honest, she's not showing any effects by Shani there. So perhaps I don't know, perhaps she doesn't have a vagina. Perhaps she's just like bald, like Barbies. Not that I've ever looked. What? Kick coming in there by Lady Shanna. Flammer down. Or Lady Shani. Again, kicks coming into the side of the heads. I don't like how she's constantly having to readjust her gear. She's done that throughout the match, actually. Lady. Kick coming in there by Flammer. Flammer going over the other sides. No joy. Oh, quick reversals. She's got a... It was hard to know who was getting the better of that then. And actually, it's Lady that's got the better of it here. Did he call it a lady lock? The lady lock. The lady lock is in. Down on the ground, the sleeper hold is in as well. She's managed to get out of it. She's trying to reverse out of it, actually. We're rolling around. Yeah, quick ref. Blooming hell. That ref was really slow getting that 3 count in. He was really slow. He was kind of watching them roll around. And Flammer's shoulders were down. And then he was like, oh, yeah. I think that definitely at least 1 count that was missed there by the ref. Lady Shani with a kick. Robbie said in defense of the crowd, this is the 3rd show they've sat through. The first show was Mass versus Mass. Oh, was this recorded the same day, was it? Over in the corner. Flammer charging over. Takes over Lady Shani. Stomp. Come on. Big stomp. Big stomp. This might be the beginning of the end. Is that a wing clipper? 1, 2. No, kick out. Lady Shani kicks out. She kind of had her and then dropped her down in what looked to be a bit of a wing clipper. But, yeah, I mean, that felt like it was going to be the end, to be honest. Flammer snatches a championship. Jumps up. She's got the belt. No. La Catalina. La Catalina's here. She's not going to let her use that championship. Oh! Backstabber! Flammer in big trouble. Big trouble. Big shots coming in here by Lady Shani. Lady Shani might be able to do this, you know. She might be able to do this. She survived that wing clipper type move. 1, 2. Lady Shani. Oh, wow. Flammer defeated. I didn't think Lady Shani was looking that great. She had a few moments, but... Wow. Not for the title, but... Isn't that bad news for La Catalina? Doesn't that mean now there's like another person in the hunt? I mean, fair play. She prevented the belt being used. I'm not sure La Catalina's going to mind too much, but... That does make Lady Shani a bit more of a player in this division. Wow, I did not expect that. So you lot said that the announcement at the start of the show was good 93. What did you think about that match with a bit of a shock result there? Did not foresee that coming. Bank. Daze, you should look up. She's like former champion and her previous matches were great, says Almighty Pop. Almighty Pop, thank you. Yeah, I'm super casual when it comes to AAA. I've never watched it. So it's kind of fun to kind of get to watch these people and find out about them. Flammer shaking her head. That was a 5-star banger, said AB. Okay, so we're just seeing Psycho Circus, Pagano, forgive me, this won't happen again. They found him, didn't they, backstage with blood all on the mirror. Please be careful, be careful. Be very careful. Pagano, we are going to find you, brother. Whoever did this will pay. They're going to pay. I wonder who did it. Stay strong, Pagano. Please forgive me. There we go. We go to commercial break. AAA. Jasmine, hello. The new study found the number in a group that had a higher rate than those who did in a group. I don't know what you mean, but... Jasmine, did you go to Jasmine Christian, the hospital today with your wife? I think you said you was doing that today, didn't you? Rapture said, Daze, if Roman Rock happens at Mania next year, while Roman is still champion, does that mean one of them will win the Rumble or the Chamber? Does it mean the winners of both will choose the WWE title? I mean, it's so hard to say, isn't it? Because, I mean, Rock Roman doesn't even need a title. I mean, it can be based on who is the real tribal chief of the family. So, I mean, a belt doesn't even need to be involved. So, yeah, I mean, Rock could win one of those. Roman could win one of those. Neither would have to win because it could just be a story outside of the championships. So, there's no way of knowing, to be honest. But, no, I mean, look, if we're going to do Rock Roman, I think the easiest way of getting to it would be to keep Roman champion and maybe have The Rock as a surprise entry in the Rumble and give Rock the Rumble win. I wouldn't have him in a chamber. I'd have him come out at 30, win the Rumble. So, I mean, that is absolutely on the table. I wouldn't be putting The Rock in the chamber. I don't even think The Rock would want to go in the chamber. I don't think his body would hold up well from a chamber match. So, either have him come out at 30 and largely keep him out the way, get down to the final two, The Rock wins the Rumble, and I think you would make it quite short after he comes out. You don't want him in there like 20, 30 minutes or something stupid. But, you know, have him in there for like 10 minutes. And then, or you would just kind of do it away from the titles. The other thing... Oh, this is how it's going to be, says El Grande. Okay, El Grande responding to the fact he was beaten up and attacked. Perros del Mal. It's okay. Perros, you had your moment. Enjoy it. Enjoy it really well. Because next week, I'll be waiting for you all. Present yourselves. Show yourselves. There are 5 of you. I'm not even going to say the word he's saying right now. But it won't be a problem this time. I won't be alone. Ryo. Bravo. But who else? God forgives. Los Perros doesn't, but neither does El Grande. See you soon. Well, there we go. He's going to be seeing them next week. There's 5 of them. Feel like he needs a couple of people to help him out. He can have Ryo and Bravo. That would make a lot of sense. Oh, it is a triple threat tag. Okay. I'm confused by this match. That I didn't find the graphic very clear. So, triple threat tag. Dinámico. Okay, Drago, Dinámico. Money Machine are coming down. I don't know their music. Okay, Money Machine then. They're one team. Dinámico and Drago are one team. Mr. Iguana and Parka are one team. Well, to be honest, I'm really surprised that this isn't the opening match. With all these bodies flying around and people tagging in, and you know there's going to be multi-person spots. I would have thought that this would have kick-started this show, to be honest. Here's the Parka. Great reaction. JBL said, I'm not cool enough to use the word dope. But if I was, I'd be using it for this guy. So, the Parka making his way down. Mr. Iguana's coming out soon. This is going to bang, said Dots Lucha Lala. Parka is over as hell. Even with this iteration, said Alex. I like what I've seen from Money Machine so far, said Dots Lucha Lala. Okay. Here's Mr. Iguana then. Big pop for him. Very unusual, but very popular superstar, Mr. Iguana. And yeah, I mean, don't be fooled as well. Very, very good in ring. There we go. One half of the mixed tag champs, isn't he, I believe? He's got that belt around his waist. I guess rats love a guy. Is he talking about ring rats? As in women that like sleeping with the wrestlers and go to shows to sleep with the wrestlers? Is that I guess rats like iguanas. I don't know. Money Machine. One of the members is offering some money to buy. Okay, he's took the money anyway. Right now, Mr. Iguana starting us off then on that top rope. Head scissor takeover. An iguana run. An iguana runner. Oh, lovely crucifix. I thought he was going to go into a crucifix pin there. He is very good. Okay, I think there was a back slap tag there. It's this Drago that's in. Roll through. Oh, amazing. Flipping off the body, over the other sides, springing off the ropes, sticks the landing, flips over. I mean, he's not actually caused any offense, but he's showing his agility and his abilities as he's being picked up right now. He's got a headlock applied. The other member of Money Machine coming in, leapfrog. Oof. Arm drag, drop kick. Drago goes down. Emery said Canada lost today. Yeah, very sorry to see Canada lose. Very sad. Kick. Oh, kick coming in. And again. Oh, another kick lands. Right now, tag being made. Duck underneath. Over the other side. This is Dinámico. Dinámico. These are people I've never seen before. Let's have a look. Let's see what he brings. Over the other side, back slap tag, takes the feet down away from the member of Money Machine. Drago tagged himself in. Shooting star looked really good. He's got him up on the shoulders. Back slap tag there by Parka. Drago looks really impressive, actually. Very impressed with his abilities. Big frog splash there. Parka comes in. It is what we expected, that sort of fast-paced action. Against the ropes, picks him up. Oh, Parka in control. Dinámico. I struggle to say it. Dinámico. Parka in control anyway. Daze, who is LeBron signing with? LeBron. I didn't. Oh, he has left, hasn't he? I don't know. I really don't know. Did I hear a rumor of Golden State Warriors or something? I saw an article about that he had left and that there was maybe a team interested. I could have just completely made that up, though. If someone had a gun at my head now and had to name a team, I'd say the Golden State Warriors. Crossbody. It's definitely picking up, said Jennifer. Okay, here's Mr. Iguana. He jumps to the outsides. Charging over, Dragono. Lovely drop kick. We've got loads of bodies everywhere here at the moment. Dragono ducking underneath. Nice. Top rope enziguri by Dinámico. Dragono going up. Perched. Looking for... Whoa! Amazing. I thought he was just going to do a crossbody. That hang time was sick. Round the back. Mr. Iguana. In control. Parka's in. Parka going up. What? Yeah, they are just making stuff up. He went to the middle rope, then he sort of like cartwheeled over, grabbed the arm of Dinámico, and then hurled him to the outside. You don't even know what you're going to see. I mean, the moves here are just insane. Yeah, the crowd are responding. The crowd are really enjoying it. Very innovative. Yeah, really, the crowd are really into this. And, you know, I mean, even though I'm not aware of a good chunk of these people, you still know what you're going to get. Shots coming in. Money Machine in control. Lovely. Yeah, there's some good teamwork there from them two. Going over. Against the ropes. Ah, big knee coming in. Dinámico, I think he's really interesting. I mean, to be honest, there's not loads of performers that don't wear a mask. So, you know, he can be really expressive because you can see his face. To the outsides. Another Iguana Rana by Mr. Iguana. That leaves Parka in, but Drago spiking with the DDT. Very fun. Perched, Parka down. Ooh. He went for a frog splash, but I think he got caught with a cutter there by Parka. That might be it, you know. Parka does get it. Yeah, very fun. Very fun. Little kid in the crowd with a Parka mask on, and it's a victory for Mr. Iguana and La Parka. Okay, let's get thoughts in for that match. First match you lot said was good 97. So we've had our big announcement. We've had the second match of the evening. That was really fun. That was good. There's a few new stars there that I've been introduced to that I would not be down on seeing again, to be honest. Oh, we got some kids in. Some young fans are in there dancing away. That's amazing, isn't it? Oh, we got another little fan that's come in. WWE don't do those. I wonder if there's a bit of concern about if someone goes in the ring, you're liable for them, or might be something to do with insurance. But looking at like kids that have come out of the crowd to dance in the ring with the wrestlers, you do sort of think, why don't we do that in WWE? You see it sometimes though at you see it sometimes at house shows. Okay. Okay, so apparently this is going to be a big feud main event. Okay, get your thoughts in for that last match. Thought it was very entertaining. Very, very fun. Benito said, I think the four horsemen of YouTube wrestling, Daze as Flair, Tommy as Tully, Dave as Ollie Anderson, and William Hensey as Arn Anderson. What a squads. What a squads. Alex said, I wonder if Truth will eventually make his way down to AAA at some point, considering that DP is now here. Let's not get too many DP mentions in the chat, please. Pat said, did you watch Lucha Underground a few years back? Only bits, because it was quite hard to watch here in the UK. And actually, I've wanted to watch it a few times, but it's not been on Netflix or anything, or not that I could ever find. I know that it did make it onto Netflix in America, but it didn't make it over here. I remember a few years ago getting quite excited because there was an announcement it was going to be on Netflix, and then America got it and we didn't. I didn't have a VPN then. So, yeah, I've never been able to like really sit down and just, blast through it. But I mean, that was the first time I was introduced to Ricochet as Prince Puma. So, I saw bits from it and I saw the odd clip and whatever, but I've never been able to sit down and kind of go through from start to finish. But I was so impressed with what I saw. I mean, the wrestling was incredible. And the character presentation was incredible. I just thought the whole thing was incredible. And it was weird because it was done in seasons, wasn't it? I mean, it had like so many episodes and then it would go on a hiatus and then come back for season 2. And that was a very different way of presenting wrestling. They're just showing some highlights from yesteryear. I'm not sure what year this is. Lucha Underground's on YouTube. Has it been added to YouTube now? Ian said, Days, tomorrow's World Cup games are going to be awesome. I've got Norway and England, says Ian. What about you? I think Norway can do it. I think it'll probably be Brazil. I could see Norway taking its penalties and then it's going to come down to who takes it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think they're both amazing games. I think England are in for the fight of their lives. I really do. It is absolutely, I think, coming down to fine margins in that England game. Fine margins. And I don't know. I won't be shocked if the Mexican fans celebrate him. You know, a massive victory for them, a big moment for them. Okay, I think Ray is talking about Damien here, is he? Talking about Grande, talking about Perros. Damian Priest will be there next week. Dirty Dom will be there. Things over here are about to get super hot. We might even have to increase our security. We're also excited to announce the next cities that we're going to be hitting. On July 25th, Verano. Oh, what's that? South Texas? That graphic was not on screen very long. Okay, main event time. I think, did they just announce they might be doing South Texas soon? Damian Priest, Dirty Dom, around next week. Okay. R-Truth was in AAA back in the mid-2000s with a heel group, says Alexi. That's some good knowledge, that is. That is some good knowledge. Daze, you've clearly been scarred by William Hensey. Just one too many times. If you think that's what I meant when I was talking about Damian Priest. Oh, Damian Priest. Alex, shout out to you, buds. Yeah, no, that makes more sense, actually. That does make more sense. Okay, Al Fiscal. Making his way down to the ring. Well, okay, we're getting underway already. I suppose we haven't got much time, have we, actually? We're looking at like 13 minutes left in this show, but we don't always fill the hour. Okay. Is this a weird main event? I don't know. They're saying that it's quite a heated rivalry. Alexis said the foreign group that R-Truth was in was called the Foreign Legion. Faith said, does this mean that Priest and Truth are going to lose the belts? No, not really, because we see a lot of people doing double duty. So we see a lot of people like, you know, Rey Fenix defending his title in like AAA, but also on the main roster as well. It's not like if you go to AAA, you're just AAA. You know, Penta has worked both, Bailey has worked both, Lola's worked both, NXT and AAA. Dominic, a big example of working both. So, no, I don't think it necessarily means he's got to drop the title. Just means he's going to be quite a busy boy. Well, they tend to do it as tapings anyway, don't they? So, I mean, he's just got to be there for the taping, and then they get like a few episodes out of it. So, I suppose in a way, it's not too disruptive. It would be way more disruptive if it was just live every week. Abismo, I think, is in control at the moment. Alpha Scout is down. Daze, AAA is Mexico's version of AEW, owned by WWE. AEW is in partnership with CMLL. That is the WWE of Mexico. So, what, AAA is sort of seen as the second promotion. I actually wouldn't know which was the bigger one of the two, but I could believe it's CMLL. Oh, going through the ropes. Straps are coming down. Stomping away. El Fiscal in control. Big shot coming in. These are a couple of big guys, actually. This AAA is live, said Christopher. No, I think this is pre-recorded. Daze, did you see that Vazinha has surpassed Tom Brady's follower counts? Oh, is that the Cape Verde keeper? Good for him. Their heroics have been incredible, and I'm not sure at the age of 40 he'll be coming back to a World Cup in the future. So yeah, I hope he gets as much out of this as he possibly can. He seems like a lovely guy. Fiscal on the outsides. Abismo is down. Kick coming in there by Alpha Scowl. Back in the ring. Goes Abismo, Alpha Scowl. You can see a lot of empty seats. I suppose they look like boxes. Like you pay extra for that. He's up, looking for a big splash. Abismo moves out the way. Alpha Scowl over the other side. Charging in, moves out the way. He goes into the corner. I mean, it's another episode that was well worth watching. Oh, he's got him up on his shoulder. No joy. Against the ropes. Duck underneath, over the other side. Clothesline. Double clothesline. Both guys go down. Yeah, it's another week that was worth watching. The Damian Priest announcement is significant. Oh, here is Carmen Petrovic. Los Perros. Del Mal making her way down, remember? Ah, here they are. Here they are. They're in. They're attacking. That's why this main evented. It main evented so we could give these guys another platform to attack and make their presence felt. Berto, Angel. Oh, stomp coming in. Alpha Scowl just getting beaten up right now. Carmen. Carmen with a kick. Ray said this is a message to the complete locker room. So this match, it felt like a bit of a weird one to put in the main event slot because we hadn't. I mean, I've been watching AAA sort of on and off over the weeks, and this isn't one feud that's been getting much of a sort of spotlight. So, I mean, it did feel like a little bit strange that was going to be what was going to close out the show, but it makes a lot more sense now that really it was just an excuse for that new group to make their presence felt again. So, yeah, I mean, look, we had an announcement. We had a women's match that had a shock finish, right? Didn't expect Flammer to lose. Then we had a really great match that you lot enjoyed. In fact, we've got the result of that on screen right now. You lot said it was great 74. Great 74. So, I mean, that's well worth watching, isn't it? A match that's great 74. Then we have a weird match that you're like, okay, let's see what this is about. And then you find out it's really about just that group. So, you know, perfectly easy to watch. You know, maybe not the strongest episodes, but can't be down on that, can you? Damian Priest arrives. We get a shock result. We have a great match, and then that group makes their presence felt at the end. Bish bosh, lovely, done. Dance Lucha said it was a good watch as always. Nothing is going to compare to those horrid SmackDowns. That was a waste of a match, though, said James. To be honest, they didn't have too much time because AAA doesn't always go a full hour. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen it go a full hour. So I kind of thought it was going to end at least 5 minutes before or something. So you're sort of looking at it going, this is going to be a short match. obviously makes a lot more sense when that group arrived. That has been a big rivalry, though, for months, said Tribal List. Benito said, how long before Truth and DP drop the titles? As I want them to defend them at the second biggest showcase of wrestling, SummerSlam. Summerfest. Yeah, no, I think they're going to keep them for a little while, but I don't know how long for, because the tag division's just a bit flat, isn't it? I mean, they could keep it for quite a while, because I don't really see too much danger, but I don't know, if Fraxium get their act together, they could definitely pose a risk. But Damien and R-Truth going to have to get past War Raiders first, aren't they? Still don't know when that match is happening. Robbie said, do we see the double tag team championship match happening on a SmackDown or a AAA show? No, I think it's going to be more a SmackDown. I don't think it's going to be AAA. The fact this thing's being built on SmackDown would make me think it's going to pay off on SmackDown. I think if it was going to pay off on AAA, they would promote it on AAA. But it would be quite clever to build it on SmackDown and pay it off on AAA, because that way you're using your SmackDown audience to kind of get engaged in a story that then resolves on the AAA show, which drives people over there. So, I mean, it would be well worth trying that. But, no, in likelihood, I think it's more likely that it will pay off on a SmackDown. I think Damien sort of teased that it would be next week. I seem to remember him saying, it won't be on a Raw. It'll be, on a SmackDown. And I don't know if he said next week. So at the moment, I'm thinking it's a SmackDown, potentially next week. With Saturday night's main event coming up, that's got to be an option. The only thing I would say is they made matches for Saturday night's main events on SmackDown, and we had graphics brought out for it as well. And this wasn't one that was announced. So if they wanted it to be on Saturday night's main event, they could have easily announced that it was going to be on Saturday night's main event already, and they didn't. So at the moment, I'm thinking it's just going to be on a SmackDown. Days when Punk returns and feuds with Cody, would it be better for Cody to be heel or for Punk? I think they'll do it face-face, honestly. I don't think either will go heel. I think both will just sort of have their supporters and they'll play it face versus face. I suppose similar to what we did with Roman and Punk. Tribalist said probably why they win the AAA tag belts so that they can then work both shows, says Tribalist. Big Time said, Days, WWE reportedly are interested in a 47-year-old Eric Young for a coaching role in NXT. Bringing back Corbin, they released a dozen 49-year-olds like Alistair Santos, MFT's White Six. Well, I think Eric Young would make sense. I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Because one thing we're not struggling with NXT is young emerging talent. We got that covered. That's fine. That box is definitely ticked. We've got Sean Legacy, we got Keanu Carver, we got Elijah Holyfield coming through. We've got the likes of Jackson Drake. We got the likes of Will Cruz, Mason Rook. We've got talent that's coming through. Tavian Heights, Miles Bourne. What we don't have is much experience for them to be going up against. We don't have people for them to beat. And so actually getting Sean Spears out of the culling, maybe making him a single star again, and having him take some losses against some of this emerging talent, but getting into some feuds with them and attacking them and backstage attacks and cutting promos in the ring and all of that. You could see Sean Spears playing that role. And actually we said, bringing a Baron Corbin back for that sort of a role, or bringing an Enzo in, or bringing someone down from the main roster, or if Eric Young is someone that we're going to get to be in that position, that's not crazy to me. He would be a little bit like a Sean Spears. We don't have much interest in you going to the main roster, but we do have interest in you working with that young talent that we've got to help it develop. If that's a role that he's happy with, a sort of coaching role, I suppose in a way it's the same position that Lince Dorado has got. you know? He's not really getting put over, but he's just sort of working a bit of AAA, working in Evolve, working as a coach. You could absolutely use Eric Young in that position. So, yeah, that's not crazy to me. I can see the point in why we would do that. I just recorded a 15-20 minute video of the Macy's fireworks, says AB. Very good. Eric's going to be doing what Sean does. Not that big of a deal, says Robbie. Ian says Punk might return on Monday to interrupt Cody's title match. I'm thinking that's why the SmackDown title is being defended on Raw. It's in Chicago for Punk's return, says Ian. Daze, did you catch MLW today? Bishop Dyer was replaced in the Skyscrapers team. Does that mean that he's actually coming back? Well, I'm really torn on it because, in my mind, if you've got a contract issue, I don't know that you really play that out on your show. I just sort of feel like that would play out behind the scenes. I don't know that you would necessarily make a storyline out of it. So I'm not sure as to where that's going. But apparently there is chatter that people are believing that he could be finding his way to WWE. But I'm just a bit confused by it. I don't know that you would necessarily make like a storyline out of the contracts coming to an end and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know. Perhaps MLW have thought, well, if he is going, we can't stop him. So we might as well get as much buzz out of it as we possibly can. So let's have a little bit of buzz about how he is, leaving and he's abandoning us and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely interesting. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. There is chatter around his return. William, hello. I liked Brooks' song about the trucker going home and crashing his truck into his own house, killing his cheating wife. Garth Brooks. Not, I couldn't name a single Garth Brooks song. I think I'd like his music though. Big Time said NXT did 592. Last 2 weeks was 668 and 610. The ratings have rebounded, so the audience is taking the new faces a liking. I don't know. I don't really understand it, to be honest, because we've been in the 500,000 range. I've not seen anything on the show, or there's not been anything teased on the show that would suggest to me that we would just gain another 100,000 or 80,000 viewers. So I'm a bit confused as to why we've seen a few spikes. If it goes back to the 500,000 range, I can sort of understand that. That makes sense to me. But that 680 makes no sense to me whatsoever. 610's fine. 610, I can understand us having a little, 20, 30,000 increase, whatever. That's not that crazy. But like 670, 680, whatever, knocking on the door to 700,000, that seems like a significant rise. And I can't really put my finger on what's happened that would do that. I don't know if that was the week that Evil arrived or something. Don't know. Bit confused by it. I don't think that they've done enough, personally. I'd like to see some main roster support. I'd like to see some AAA support. I'd like to see some TNA support. I'd like to see some more support. I think that you've got a lot of young emerging talent that's trying to find its feet. And I just don't think there's anywhere near enough experience on that roster, certainly in the men's division. So for me, I think they're getting a few things wrong at the moment. But if they're still finding a way of getting some good ratings out of it, then great. That's only good news. Watching fireworks from the window, says Metal Moment. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just gone past 11, hasn't it? So the day is coming to an end. So I'm sure there's fireworks everywhere in America right now. So many, many congratulations. Daze, do we know of a way that we as fans can officially rate matches and shows? Not officially. Best place to go, I would say, is probably Cage Match, but there is no official WWE platform to rate matches. But Cage Match is probably the best website that's got the most information on, the most data on, the most shows and matches and stuff like that for people to feed back onto. I'd love to see that platform get used more, to be honest. Here's a fun one, said Benito. Who do we think are the heels and the faces when it comes to the World Cup? Like faces, USA, Norway, Switzerland. Heels, Portugal, Spain, England, France. I think, I mean, everyone's going to be different on that, but I think normally heels tend to be the big favourites because everyone, the rest of the world, want the underdogs to win. So, I mean, there's no denying the other night Argentina were the heels, not because we hate them, but because everyone wanted Cape Verde. Cape Verde was the plucky underdog. That was the baby face. So I think if you're one of the favourites, you're probably going to be more of a heel. But if you are, you know, the underdog, then obviously you're going to fit into that babyface role. So I don't know necessarily if there's any teams that are faces. I suppose the smaller teams like Cape Verde would be. But I don't know, now they're at this stage, are there any teams that are going to be faces all the way through? Or any teams that are going to be heels all the way through? It's all going to be subjective, isn't it? It really depends on how you feel about the different countries and all of that stuff. But by and large, it's going to be whoever is the underdog is going to be the face. Whoever is the favourite is going to be the heel. And I think it would largely just work that way. That's how it works with my mom. If she sits down to watch a match, she wants to know who the underdog is and she roots for them. And that's, you know, she enjoys that. She enjoys seeing the underdogs win. So that's her approach to football that doesn't involve England. Robbie said, Daze, which team is going to walk away with both SmackDown and AAA tag titles? I would like to think the War Raiders, because, I mean, that's all they've got. I mean, with Damien, he can go off and do whatever. R-Truth can do his comedy. They're only a team that have been thrown together. I don't know how much of a future they've got. So I would, if I could pick, I'd say the War Raiders probably need it more because they are, you know, proper team. Actually, I wouldn't hate if those belts got unified because I only think we need one set of tag titles on the main roster. So what if the SmackDown tag belts get unified with the AAA tag belts? And, you know, we start seeing those AAA tag titles being defended kind of, you know, not only on AAA, but also on Raw and SmackDown, maybe popping up in NXT. You know, there's a bit of freedom to those AAA titles. So, you know, you've got those belts. You've got the WWE tag belts, the NXT tag belts, and the AAA tag belts. And you sort of do it that way instead. So I would not hate the War Raiders, a proper tag team, winning it. And I would not hate if those belts get unified and actually we just keep them as the AAA tag belts. A Big Time said, who do we think are the three that we would like to see win Money in the Bank? Chelsea has more than earned it. People have said Roxanne, but what effort on her side has she done to get herself over? I think I don't know if it's like effort. I mean, I think the thing with Roxanne is we know she's a great in-ring performer. She showed it in NXT. I think that she's gone into Judgment Day and she's been okay. I mean, she's just been part of that group. You can certainly make the argument that she's not pulling up trees or it might be too early or, you know, give me a great reason why it should be her. But, I mean, she's a good performer. She's a good wrestler. She was a decent name in NXT. I mean, she was the women's champion. She was very dominant. I think we do see her as a future world champion. I certainly do. She's still very young as well. I can understand why people would go Roxanne. Kind of feels like she's not really had much opportunity and, you know, she absolutely could be in the running. I also wouldn't mind if we don't do that and actually tell a story about her coming out of Judgment Day, give her a run on her own, and, you know, maybe then pull the trigger there. I mean, because she's so young, I feel like she's got plenty of time ahead. So, yeah, I don't really disagree with you. I don't know that would be a barrier for me, but, yeah, I wouldn't hate Lyra winning it. I wouldn't hate, certainly this darker Lyra that I'm kind of quite interested in. I thought the vignette we got on Monday was quite interesting. So this darker Lyra I'm sort of into. Chelsea, I think, makes a lot of sense. Really not down on Chelsea having it. Not down on Lyra having it. Trying to think who else has sort of been around for a little while now. I wouldn't go Julia. I wouldn't go Stephanie, but I suppose Stephanie's already had a top title, so if she has money in the bank, it's not a problem. I suppose you could go Stephanie. I wouldn't hate Bailey having it, but they might want to go with, someone new. How do we feel about Jordan Grace having it? I don't really think we've done a great deal with her, though, so she's probably in the same boat as Roxanne. She's a great performer. She's held a title kind of at that developmental level. No disrespect to TNA, but their viewership is lower than NXT. If you've got a TNA belt, I don't think that's the same as having like a women's world title on Raw or SmackDown. So I think her achievements come at that lower level. So, yeah, Jordan's probably in that same Roxanne boat. Maybe Raquel. She's had opportunity and whatever, not been able to get over the line. Perhaps Raquel could get over the line with a Money in the Bank. So, Raquel, Lyra, Chelsea. Those are three that are coming to mind. Just trying to think if there's anyone I'm forgetting. Wouldn't hate JC could have it and then carry it for a year. I suppose that's the other thing, though. If Roxanne gets it, she hasn't got to cash it in yet. So how I said it would be good for her to kind of break out Judgment Day, have a little run. She could do all of that. I mean, we could do Roxanne Live at WrestleMania, and Roxanne could still have the briefcase. So, I mean, we could do that while she's carrying the briefcase. You could put the briefcase on Jordan, and she can be built up while she's still got the briefcase. It's not like she's going to cash in on the same show. She ain't got to cash in for 12 months. So you could have a cash in 10 months' time. So I suppose in a way, with that logic, it kind of brings a lot of people in. It's probably a quicker list to go down the ones you wouldn't do. I wouldn't do Maxine. I wouldn't do BFAB. I think even 12 months' time, both of those are still going to be really limited. I don't think I would do Michin. I think there's more exciting options. So I wouldn't do Ivy Nile. She's completely out the mix. I suppose with that logic of put the briefcase on and then build them when they've got it, that brings Julia in. Maybe brings Kiana in, but again, I think there's better options. I think I'm quite happy with I might be happy with my three of Raquel, Chelsea, Lyra. I think I'd stick with those. How long do we think Raquel, Roxanne are going to be sticking around for? Well, I mean, it's definitely been teased, hasn't it? I mean, they might get past SummerSlam. And if they get past SummerSlam, I could see it then being that they stick together for a little while. Then all of a sudden you start looking next year. So I think SummerSlam's going to be a test if there's going to be a betrayal at SummerSlam. Is someone going to betray at SummerSlam? If not, then I feel like they actually might be sticking together for a little while longer. I really hope this thing doesn't go past WrestleMania, though. Even that seems... WrestleMania should be where Roxanne and Liv are having a match, or Raquel and Liv are having a match. So the split would have to come before. So that might be Rumble or something like that. So SummerSlam, if not SummerSlam, then I think we might be looking early 2027. But definitely there should be, at the latest, a match at WrestleMania between members of Judgment Day. Blake Monroe, Jordan, Roxanne would be my choice, said Bonkers. Big Time said, I heard Becky was talking with Stephanie on her podcast. She said she wants to win Money in the Bank with the idea of getting the fans rattled. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, and it would rattle the fans. I mean, I think a lot of the names we're mentioning are obviously all names that are, very emerging younger talent or people that have not quite achieved world title yet. You know, Becky, there would be grumbles at that, but sometimes you do it to generate those grumbles. Sometimes you do it to annoy the fans because you know that that person's going to get their comeuppance, you know? So, I don't know. Not a direction I would go. Based on last night, Daniel Bryan is Cape Verde. The Miracle Kids. They were fantastic. That was, what a story. Probably the best story out of the World Cup so far, isn't it? About what they've achieved. Big Time said, even when she's doing backstage promos, her voice doesn't sounds quiet. She doesn't get much reaction. We see her as a world champion, but something's missing. Maybe when she's on her own, she can turn it up. Yeah, I think it's hard when you're in a group because, and certainly Judgment Day, because it's hard to get promo time, and when you do backstage, you're only getting a few moments. I mean, she hasn't really done anything that exciting yet. I just look at NXT and I look at how she carried herself as a heel champion NXT, and she was good, and her match quality was really good. So I'm confident that when we can start showing that on a regular basis, I'm confident then that she should start to, you know, make a stronger connection. But I think at the moment they don't need her to have that singles run. So they are instead using her in this sort of faction. She is a little bit sort of pushed to the sidelines. You have to do that though, don't you? Because you've got so many people that you are working with and focusing on that, you know, there are going to be people that just sort of get pushed to the sidelines. It happens all the time. It's not a bad thing. It's just, there's, you know, it can't be your time all the time. It's got to be Lyra's time. It's got to be Jade's time. It's got to be Tiffany's time. It's got to be Liv's time. It's got to be Raquel's time. It's got to be Stephanie's time. Like, all of these people need time and spotlight as well. So you are going to find yourself sort of, you know, pushed to the sides. I mean, you could be like Jordan Grace and just not getting on TV. Or you could be like Roxanne, where you're just on TV, but you're only getting a few lines in a faction, you know? Or you could be shoved in a tag team and sort of just thrown into the tag division. So there's different ways of using people that aren't required yet for, you know, whatever singles kind of push they want to give them. So, yeah, I think she's just kind of, you know, being put in that position. But when it's time to really do something with her, hopefully then we can get going. She can show people how good she is in the ring, and she just doesn't really have that at the moment. She's just a little bit cold, I would say, but nothing that I'm concerned about. How do we feel about Tiffany now against last year? Are we still flamed out? Yeah, I mean, actually, early last year, I was quite into Tiffany. I think as soon as she hit that Charlotte feud, that's where it started to wobble for me, because the conversation wasn't really about how good she was and what, you know, all that stuff. It was more about her and Charlotte. And so, you know, we went into that WrestleMania match. We watched the match. It was okay. It was all right. And then, I don't know, after that then, like, after she moved on from the drama of all of that, then it was a case of, right, now you've got to follow that in a way, you know? I mean, all of a sudden, the spotlight was quite bright on her because everyone was having their say about her and Charlotte, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, where did it go wrong, why did it happen, all of that stuff. What follows that is just really regular, boring segments, and actually her match quality being quite flat. And actually, like, from the early excitement of her coming to the main roster to her then getting into the drama of that feud with Charlotte, which we can say was unprofessional on Charlotte's side or on Tiffany's side or on both of their sides, whatever. But there was a buzz. There was life to that feud, and we were all having our say on it. And I think what happened after was the life just seemed to go. I mean, what followed just felt very flat, very underwhelming, very safe, comfortable, paint by numbers. It's Tiffy time, catchphrase with nothing behind it. matches all felt very similar. I felt like she was doing flips and stuff that looked good at first, that you're like, oh, that's a good comeback, that looks good. But actually, you know, she would do it again and again and again, and like all of a sudden you start to realize there's no emotion behind it. There's no sort of like digging deep. There's no, you know, trying to, you know, find a way back into the match. There's no selling. There's none of that sort of stuff that makes, you know, a match great and a wrestler great. It's more performing spots that have worked for her and sequences that have worked. And when you start to see that it is just that, and it doesn't really have the gravitas behind it, the weight behind it, that's required to really satisfy, you start to see it is a bit shallow, and you start to see it's a bit two-dimensional. And really, I think we started to see that after WrestleMania, after her feud with Charlotte, is when it kind of really started to show itself for me. And I think it might have shown even earlier if it hadn't have been for that Charlotte feud. That the drama of that kind of meant that we were not distracted, but yeah, I don't think it really showed until after. And people kind of put it down to her being maybe a bit burnt out, and the drama of the Charlotte feud maybe had got to her a little bit, and all this stuff. But to be honest, I think she's come back and she's looking exactly the same. I can't really make any argument that she's better, or that she's a better in-ring performer, or she's selling better, or I'm enjoying her matches more. You can maybe make an argument she hasn't had the best of opponents. You can make the argument she hasn't had the best creative. I think all of that is fair. But, you know, the one thing I've always said about Cody is he didn't have the best creative, but I can still point to his match at Backlash with AJ Styles as being, you know, an incredible match in 2024 after he won the championship. You know, I can still point to matches that he's had that have delivered, that have had really good ratings. I mean, when that bell rings, Cody can deliver. And so for me, the creative might be bad. The connection with the audience or certain parts of the audience might be bad. But I know that he's not bad. I know he's not a bad wrestler. The thing with Tiffany is that the creative might be bad, but actually, I don't think the matches are blowing people's minds either. The ratings for the matches are not that great. It does feel a bit flat. It does feel a bit two-dimensional. She has had a little break. She has come back from that. I'm sure she's in a better headspace now, which is great. But I'm still not seeing anything really special. I'm not seeing anything really that's there. Again, you can say she needs better opponents. She needs better stories. I think all of that is fair. But yeah, I would like to be seeing some more. So let's see what comes out of this Blake situation. Let's see what comes out of Julia and, you know, all of this stuff. We got JC around. I mean, Tiffany, JC, I wouldn't be down on. JC is a good worker. So if we kind of go in that direction, I wouldn't be down on it. I don't know if we're doing that. I really don't know where we're going next with Tiffany. But let's see. I mean, if I'm Triple H, and this is what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking it now, then I sort of owe Tiffany the opportunity to step in there with someone good and prove that you have got more about you than what we've seen so far. So let's give her that opportunity. Let's put her in there with a Charlotte or a Becky, or, you know, someone that's got experience, even a JC that doesn't have loads of experience, although she was a very active indie worker. And can work great matches. You know, even she would be able to bring more out of Tiffany than a Jade can. So, you know, let's not forget she has had to work a lot with Jade. God, how much do we need Bianca, by the way? How much do we need Bianca? Imagine if Bianca was around, how much that would help. We probably don't take that into consideration. The fact we don't have Naomi and we don't have Bianca, and Randy Orton's broken and we haven't seen Sheamus in a long time. You know, there's a few injuries that have kind of kept a few people out that I think would have been really good additions to the roster if they were around. Bianca being absolutely one of them. That's another thing as well, is she obviously gets injured at WrestleMania. You know they had plans for Bianca last year. You know there was plans. That's something we've never really spoken about how we had to go down roads we probably didn't want to be going down, because we had definitely had plans for Naomi, and we definitely would have done stuff with Bianca, and both of them being out of the picture meant we had to rely on people that we probably weren't thinking that we were going to rely on. So I don't like using injuries as an excuse, because you're always going to have injuries, but it's probably worth a mention. In an ideal world, Money in the Bank would be in June, and Roxanne wins and Raquel wins the tournament, challenges Liv at SummerSlam. Roxanne turns on Liv via cash-in and pins Raquel, says Big Time. Awesome stream. Glad to spend 4th of July. Hope you spent 4th of July well. Benito, shout out to you, but... Pat said they don't seem to be able to handle more than an A and a B storyline. With a roster that deep, you need to have like 8-9 storylines. It's like a busy short order cook. No, I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that. Word Life Cena fan said, do a poll. Should it be Lyra, Roxy, Chelsea, Becky winning? Okay, we can do that for a couple of minutes. Who wins Money in the Bank? What was the options? Oh, I've lost your comment now. Lyra, I think that's a good shout. Roxanne. If we put Chelsea, I feel like Chelsea's winning. Feel like it's going to be Chelsea. I think most fans want Chelsea to be that person. We had John retire, and then we had Naomi leave and Bianca. Then the Wyatts got released. It's hurt my heart, says Metal Mama. Thankfully, we've had Danhausen, but Punk has been gone for the past few weeks, and Drew. Even you can feel their absence. Yeah, it is worth mentioning. I mean, we do have to acknowledge that there's always going to be injuries, and you should be able to survive injuries, because it's just part and parcel of it. Obviously, releases are normally a thing. Whether this was a bit worse than usual, it kind of felt like it was. Felt like a pretty seismic release schedule this time around. You know, we had to reduce that budget quite drastically, seemingly. So maybe a few more there. Again, I don't know how that affected things. So injuries, releases, definitely a factor. Definitely. But it is one of those factors that you've kind of always got to be ready for, as hard as it is to be ready for. So, you know, what has happened has happened. 2025 was a bit flat. I do think 2026 is a little bit better, though. So we take the positives and we move forwards. And I think SummerSlam is looking, you know, there's reasons to be optimistic. I think SummerSlam is looking as good as we could hope SummerSlam to look, to be honest. Get your votes in. We'll stick around for a couple of moments, and then we're going to run away into the night giggling as we head towards a proper week next week. I'm looking forward to next week. We'll be back looking to get like regular videos, obviously get a Hall of Fame thing going. All the member streams will be back. We're back to normal with Raw and SmackDown. There's no European tour. There's no Saudi Arabia. Just blast our way through. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to just getting back to, you know, I'm going to say normality. I don't feel like things have been normal for at least a month or so. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that next week. Big Time said, Chelsea being as over as she is, don't get me wrong, if she's not in the plans, I don't think having her eat so many losses, why couldn't she pin Michin last night? Oh, it just doesn't matter. And to be honest, if she's going to win Money in the Bank, if they've got that plan, it doesn't matter. Because Money in the Bank, you can go in kind of not really being fancied because, oh no, they don't really like her. They don't really rate her because she keeps losing. They're not going to have Chelsea win. I mean, she lost the other week. She lost, bang! she wins Money in the Bank. Changes everything. I mean, that's the great thing about Money in the Bank. Your whole fortune can be changed because you can be on a losing streak, things not really going your way. It doesn't matter. You've got this. What you've got is a moment. Yeah? A moment. You are going to have a moment. It's guaranteed because you're going to cash in. Unless you get injured and you never get to cash it in, you have got a moment right there that you can pull the trigger on whenever you want. And so you can have people kind of taking losses and not looking like creative fancy them, and then out of nowhere put the briefcase on them, changes everything. So I mean, I don't really get a sense that they are looking to build her up for, like, you know, a big winning streak or anything, but I would not rule out Money in the Bank. They could absolutely be kind of having a show in. She showed a bit of fight. She was interacting with the fans. They gave her the hot tag. She got in. The crowd popped. So, I mean, we milked all of that stuff. She ended up falling short, which is fine. Getting jaded by Jade, no problem. If the plan is that we're trying to get her to connect to the audience and she just keeps falling short, and the conversation from the fans is going to be, oh, I wish they would do something better with Chelsea. I wish Chelsea would get, like, you know, it could be that we're getting you to think that way because we're about to put the Money in the Bank on her. Psychology-wise, it could be quite clever. What value does winning Money in the Bank if you've only failed a cash-in? Seems like a waste of an accolade. Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman, Austin Theory were wasted. Why even do the concept? Well, you can't have everyone succeed, can you? If everyone succeeds, then there's no drama of, are they going to do it when they cash in? Because everyone does it, so you've got to have people fail. I think that there is value to it, because I think if you've got Money in the Bank, you are walking around as a potential world champion. If we put the Money in the Bank on Roxanne, she could be the next world champion, and you look at her different, because all of a sudden, this isn't a girl that we're looking at like she's not winning, she's in Judgment Day, you know, is she going to win Queen of the Ring? No, she's not even in Queen of the Ring or whatever, or she didn't even get out the qualifying rounds. You know, I mean, that's the conversation about Roxanne if she doesn't have Money in the Bank. Could she win the Royal Rumble? Probably not. She's not the favourite going in, blah, 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 blah. If she's got Money in the Bank, all of that changes. Because all of a sudden now it doesn't matter if she wins the Royal Rumble. It doesn't matter if she's in Queen of the Ring. It doesn't matter if she's losing every single match. The only thing that matters is when she calls her shot, when she cashes in, that she capitalizes on it. That's the only thing that matters. And all the time that she has got that briefcase, all while she has got that briefcase, people are looking at her or looking at that person, wondering, is that the next world champion? Are they going to do it? This is why, for me, it just does not matter if you are winning matches whilst you've got the briefcase. I think you can take L after L after L, because I think it's easy to just say that you're distracted. Why do I care, or why am I giving my all to matches, right, when I have got the shortcut, right? I have got the ability. The only thing I need to focus on if I've got Money in the Bank, the only thing, the one thing I need to focus on is that when I call my shot, I've called it at the right time and I succeed. That is it. Absolutely everything else irrelevant. If I'm on Raw and I'm in a match and I lose that match, I don't care. That match is not going to get me a better opportunity than the opportunity I've already got. Because even if I earn a title match, it's probably a singles match against a fresh champion. Whereas I've got a briefcase that's going to let me cash in after someone's just been beaten up and then not fresh. And it gives me a better chance of winning. My best chance of winning is the briefcase. So I think that you can take losses if you've got the briefcase. I think it's a very easy story to tell, that you are not fully focused on what you're doing. You're only focused on when to cash in. It is, a bit difficult right now because trying to figure out what the right time is. You still want to be having matches and testing yourself and trying your best, but your only focus, if you've got that briefcase, is cashing in. So if you do cash in and you fall short, yes, it's obviously not a good look, because it's like missing a penalty in a penalty shootout. Really, the shooter should score because you've got the advantage. The goal is big, the ball is small. You should be able to fire it at speed and get it in the goal. The goalkeeper's only going to go one direction. I mean, if he dives to the left, you've got the right, you've got the middle to score. You can even put the ball in the net if you hit it hard enough, the direction the keeper goes. So the keeper can even go the right way and you can still score. So it's very much advantage with the shooter in a penalty shootout, just like it's advantage for the person with the briefcase. So yes, you are going to look a bit silly if you fail to cash in, but you can't have people succeed all the time. Some people are going to have to fail so that there is a degree of peril when it comes to, is it going to be successful? And I do think there is value in having someone being looked at for that year that they've got the briefcase as a potential world champion. It reframes them. You look at them a little different. All of a sudden there is a real chance this person could be a world champion. And you start, anytime you're being associated with a world championship is obviously very good for you. So I think there is value to that. Where I would say it was a waste is, imagine if you win Money in the Bank, you try to cash in on the same show or a month later and you fail. I would struggle to justify that, because in my mind, you've not really given people a chance to think about that person, about being a world champion. Certainly if it's cashed in on the same show. Imagine if, say, LA Knight wins the briefcase at Money in the Bank and he's going to cash it in later that night, and he does and he fails. That's a complete waste to me, because LA Knight had the opportunity, rather than taking his time and rather than him carrying the briefcase and rather than us having endless conversations over the next 12 months about, is he going to do it? When's he cashing it in? Will he succeed? What would he even be like as a champion? How do we feel about LA? Think of all the conversations we would have about LA Knight being a potential champion. Well, if he cashes it in on the same show, we are not having any of those conversations. It's just a waste. So winning, carrying it, and then failing to cash in, not ideal, but there is a purpose to it, and I think it does raise your stock still. But if you was to cash in on the same show, no, that would be the hardest one for me to justify. Or if it was like a month later, I don't think, you've kind of really maximized that opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best inventions, honestly. I think Money in the Bank's fantastic. Was Triple H getting a kick out of Theory cashing in on a US title? Failed as a cash-in to win the title at Survivor Series 6 days later against Lashley Rollins. It had to have been a rib. I don't know that it was a rib. You'd have to speak to Triple H on that, because I think that's one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen. I mean, I actually thought that was working well for Theory. I mean, he came running down at Clash in the Castle at Wales, getting knocked out by Tyson Fury. I remember him coming running down at SummerSlam with that amazing match with Brock and Roman. He came down. It felt like, again, we were looking at him going, can he do it? Is he going to do it? That felt like an interesting time for Theory, actually. It felt like they might be pulling the trigger. So him failing to do it, obviously not ideal, but I think we did get a period of time where we were talking about him potentially being a world champion. I just think it was really dumb having him try and cash in on a mid-card belt. I'll never understand why we did that. I think it makes him look weak, because it sort of makes it look like he's not confident enough that he could cash in on a top title. And then he even failed to do that. I don't know. That might have just been a really early Triple H mistake. There might have been some logic to it. I'm not sure what that logic was. You know, let's try and convince people that he can cash in for any title. Let's try and really sell Money in the Bank as not just being for the world titles, but any title. And, you know, he really wants that mid-card belt. I don't know why. I mean, I know Roman was champion. I know it was not going to be easy. But the fact you can cash in at any time, I don't know. I think we just got that wrong. You'd have to ask Triple H on that as to why he did that. Certainly not something I would have done. I've been cooking, said Shining Wizard. I wasn't even aware that we were doing this show. Oh yeah, we just did AAA. It was okay. It wasn't the strongest episode, but you know, it was okay. Word Life Cena fan said, Daze, if we could book pulling the trigger on Chelsea for a World Heavyweight Championship, would we do it? I'd give her a Mania moment. Yeah, I mean, I'd go Money in the Bank. I'd put the Money in the Bank briefcase on her. I wouldn't try and build her up as a legitimate fighter, because I think we've spent so long sort of having her cut corners and falling short. It's kind of hard to believe now that she's going to just start winning matches. This is why I think having her get Money in the Bank, successfully cashing in, getting the title, and then really the challenge is going to be trying to keep it. And I think that's where we could have some fun with her trying to find ways of keeping it. She kind of would slip into that Eddie Guerrero vibe, you know? I could see her pulling some stunts as a baby face to try and keep the belt. You know, like how Eddie used to do stuff like the chair thing to try and win matches, and the fans would find it hilarious. You know, they weren't booing him out the building when he was doing it. It was so comical and so entertaining. People were like, oh man, I love Eddie Guerrero. I could imagine Chelsea cashing in, getting with Money in the Bank, becoming world champion, and then finding quirky ways, fun ways to try and keep that belt, you know? And actually, if you're screwing over heels that have cheated in the match as well, or tried to cheat in the match anyway, the fans will only see it as a heel getting their comeuppance. The fans will only see it as a heel getting what they deserve, you know? So imagine that. Imagine if we had loads of female heels trying to get the belt off Chelsea, but Chelsea kept outfoxing them. I don't think she'd be able to out-wrestle and like win clean, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to. We can find other ways to keep belts on her. So yeah, I would do that. I'd have no problem doing that. I think I'm very much in the boat that Chelsea, for all of her work, deserves a little run with a world title at some point. Don't know if it'll be soon. Don't know that it'll be this year. But we did put some names into a poll. 50% of you said you would like to see Chelsea get Money in the Bank. 32% said Roxanne. 10% said other. Only 8% went with Lyra. So, yeah, it was pretty unanimous. Half the vote going to Chelsea, and I must admit I'm not too surprised. Calvin said, I still feel like Triple H is intentionally holding Theory down, or he wouldn't be where he is now. I think he just can't figure it out. I think that Theory is an enigma to Triple H. I just don't think he can figure it out. I don't think he can figure out the right way to present him. I think he's tried him as a solo star. He's tried him in a tag team. He's tried him being a bit goofy when he was in A-Town Down Under. He's tried him being a bit serious. He's tried him with the Vision. He just can't seem to find the right presentation. And, yeah, I don't know. I do worry a little bit for Theory because, you know, it's not good that we just can't quite find it yet. I don't know at what point Triple H is going to run out of patience. I don't think he's intentionally holding him down. I just think he genuinely can't figure it out. I think he would love an Austin Theory that was, like, you know, killing it. Again, it goes back to what I said before. Triple H has got to just be focused on ratings, revenue, noise, buzz. This is what he gets judged on. This is what his, this is the job. You are here to put on the best show possible. I mean, he reached out to CM Punk, in all fairness to him, because he knew Punk would be a useful addition to the roster. And there's a lot of bad blood between them in the past. But for the sake of, you can do a job for me. You can definitely, if you're interested in being in wrestling, I can do something with you. And he reached out to him, and, it's been great. So I feel like I'm struggling to believe that he's intentionally holding Theory down. I think it's probably more likely he just genuinely cannot figure out the best way of using him. I think the best way to use him is as a baby face that's just falling short. I think a baby face that's sort of, the people are cheering him on, and I'm going to do it. And he gets in there and, just can't get it over the line, falling short. That's that kind of a thing. Having the crowd kind of cheering for him. I suppose in a way that's sort of LA Knight position, where LA Knight has got the people and he's just not quite getting the job done. I feel like Theory's probably best place for that. How you get him to that, though, I'm not sure. I've got a few ideas, but that's going to be a challenge. I don't know if you turn him face and just sort of have him do a promo to the fans saying that he's been lost and he's sorry and everything and going out. I don't know. It might not work. It might fall flat. The fans might not care. They might not gravitate to him. They might not get behind him. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little tricky. This is why I thought, put him in the Vision, have the Vision abuse him, have Bron Breakker insult him, have Bronson Reed sort of show him disrespect, have the people build up sympathy, and then he turns on them and the crowd pop, and then all of a sudden you've got your way forwards. Then he's a baby face that the fans are behind, that stood up for himself against the Vision. And, that to me made sense. That's the way I would have gone. Maybe that's what they were going to do, but we just never got to it, so. Anyway, I think we've definitely spent enough time. What about Theory teaming with Chad? Said Word Live Cena fan. You could do it, definitely. Yeah, you could get a bit of fun out of that. Obviously you'd have to turn him face. I don't know how we would quite get to it, but if he was face, you could definitely do that. But yes, we're done. Anyway, thanks for joining. A bit of a different Saturday stream. We normally do something a bit bigger than this, like maybe a big PLE or a Saturday night's main event. Next week, I believe we've got UFC. Conor McGregor is fighting. As well as that, we've got obviously Saturday night's main event coming up. We've got a big NXT show, AAA show. We're quite busy, actually. This was a quiet weekend, but it ain't going to be that way. We got plenty of big stuff on the way, so looking forward to it. Obviously appreciate everyone joining us. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July if you're in America. If not, hope you had a great day anyway. We're going to be back again on Monday, obviously with Raw full member streams and everything coming up as well. We're right back into all of that. So yeah, appreciate it. Have a good weekend, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.